A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young man walks into your office and tells you that his best friend has been killed by unknown assailants. Your job? Investigate. Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality.
Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Switch to Fatima yourself today.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, August 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. It was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. That's you, Frank?
Yeah, morning, Joe.
Looks like it's going to be a scorcher today, doesn't it?
Yeah, nice and clear.
How'd the weekend go?
Lousy.
Why? What do you mean?
Oh, Faye and me had a ruckus Saturday night.
Oh, that's so?
Yeah, it happens every time we have somebody over for dinner. Never fails.
Yeah.
And she gets to yakking it up with the company. We never eat till 10:30. It's a miserable time for dinner.
Yeah, it's pretty late at that.
Saturday night, we had the Johnsons over. Going to play a little cards, have a little dinner. You know, relax.
Mm-hmm.
Wife fixed Swedish meatballs. They're on the stove. Everything's dandy. She gets to talking. We finally sit down to eat. It's 10:15. Meatballs are burned.
Yeah.
Well, that time we were all so hungry we lost our appetite. It was real embarrassing, Joe. We finally sat down. I figured I let Faye know I was pretty sore. But I didn't want to come right out and tell her in front of the Johnsons, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
So I picked up one of the meatballs that was burned, said she'd invented something new. Everybody else used chlorophyll for their teeth, but we had built-in charcoal.
Yeah, what'd she say?
Nothing, just a look. Hasn't said a word to me since. Sends the kids with messages for me. It's pretty miserable.
She'll probably be over when you get home tonight.
Pardon me.
Yes, sir?
Is the homicide department where you report a murder?
Yes, sir, that's right.
You the fellas I talked to about a murder?
Yes, sir. Come on in. Sit down. Take that chair over there.
Thought I'd never make it.
Are you all right?
Yeah, now that I'm here, it's all right.
Your face is pretty badly cut there. Those bruises, scratches on your throat. You sure you're all right now?
Yeah, I'm all right. I never thought I'd get here. Times I was ready to quit, but then I'd think of Kevin, what they did to him, and I had to keep walking. I had to. For Kevin, I had to.
Well, everything's all right now. You can tell us about it.
I don't know where to start.
What's your name, young fella?
Bruce Hamilton.
All right, Bruce. I'm Joe Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Hello, Bruce.
Oh.
Well, we know that you must have been through a terrible ordeal, but you can tell us about it. It's all right.
What day is today?
It's Monday the 9th.
Monday. And it was Saturday night. Just 2 days. Seems like 10 years. We just finished dinner, sitting around the fire having coffee, trying to figure out whose turn it was to do the dishes. Then we heard them.
You heard them? Who's that?
Horsemen. Lots of them. They rode right into the camp. One of them yelled something, and they all stopped. Stood there looking at us. We didn't know what to do, who they were. We just stood there. Then this big guy, I guess he was the leader, said something to us in Spanish. We couldn't understand him.
All right, go ahead.
You see, Kevin and I go to school together. Summer vacation, we decided to go down to Mexico and do a little prospecting. That's the reason we were there.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
We just stood there and looked at him. Big guy said something else, and then they all laughed. Then he got off his horse and came over to Kevin and me. He was a big man. When we tried to tell him that we didn't know what he was saying, he laughed and turned to the other men, and they laughed too. Big guy said something else to him, and they all got off their horses and started to go through our things. Kevin told them not to and started to walk over to him to stop him. The leader hit Kevin and knocked him down. The men laughed at him, and Kevin got up and ran toward one of them. Kevin started to hit him. I broke away from the one that was holding me and ran to help Kevin. The big guy grabbed me and hit me in the face, knocked me down, and started to kick me. I heard a shot. When I looked where Kevin was, he was all doubled up, holding his stomach. He hollered at me to help him. Then the guy shot him again. He fell down and didn't move. They all laughed, thought it was a big joke. I got up. One of them shot at me. I started running. I ran as fast as I could. He kept shooting. Thought sure they'd hit me, and I kind of waited for it. Then I ran through some bushes, and I fell into this gully.
Mm-hmm.
When I hit the bottom, I just lay there and didn't move, almost afraid to breathe. Guess they thought they'd kill me.
I see. What happened then?
I waited until I couldn't hear them anymore, and then I crawled up out of the gully to see if they were gone. I wanted to help Kevin. I didn't see anybody, so I walked over to where he was. He was laying on his face. You got no idea how I felt when I turned him over.
Mm-hmm. All right, we understand. Go ahead.
I knew right away he was dead. It shot him in the stomach and in the chest. Shirt was all stained. There was nothing I could do for him. Nothing anybody could do. I looked at him for a long time. Guess I cried. It was terrible. Kevin was dead and there's nothing I could do for him.
I see. What'd you do then?
I buried Kevin. I looked for something to dig the grave with, but they'd taken everything, even the shovels, everything. I found a place under a tree and dug a grave with my hands. Then I went back and got Kevin. Laid him in the grave I dug and covered him up. Said a prayer for him. I did the best I could for him. Best I could.
All right, son. Try to take it easy. Frank, let's get him some water. I'll take him down to the interrogation room, all right?
All right.
Bruce, maybe you'd like to go down the hall to another room. It's a little more quiet down there, huh?
Yeah. Sorry. Crying like a kid. I guess you think it's silly, but I can't help it.
Oh, it's all right, Bruce. We know how you feel. Nobody gets too old to cry. Go ahead. No, it's down this way.
Okay. I'm so tired. I'm glad to get this over with.
Sure. All right, here we are. Go ahead, Bruce. Want to sit down?
Thanks.
Here's a glass of water, Bruce.
Thanks. Tastes good. Helps.
All right. Now, is there any more you want to tell us?
Well, there's a little more. There was nothing I could do. I looked around. They'd taken everything. Dishes, food, supplies, clothes. I went over the mesquite bushes where we hid in our duffel bag. We kept all our money and papers in there. Wallets, identification, all our valuables. They'd found that. It was gone. They hadn't left anything.
Well, they took everything. Didn't leave a thing, huh?
Not a thing.
What'd you do then?
Started to walk. We parked our car just off the highway, and it was about 5 miles. When I got to where we'd park it, the car was gone. I didn't know what to do. What could I do?
All right.
I started to walk to Ensenada to tell the police. Then I began to think the bandits had taken my wallet. I didn't have any identification, no way to prove who I was. Couldn't even speak the language. Got scared that they might not believe me.
Now, you walked all the way from Ensenada to the American border, is that it?
That's right. I walked all Saturday night, and Sunday morning I found an old adobe house, and I crawled through a window and slept. I don't know how long I was asleep, but it was dark when I woke up. I started to walk again. I walked all Sunday night, too. When I got to the border, I was afraid to go through the gate, so I went down by the riverbed and found a hole in the fence. I crawled through and went over the American side. When I got there, I felt better. safe. I figured that I'd go up to the first policeman I saw and tell him what happened.
Did you notify the authorities down in San Diego?
No, I got to the police station, but I didn't go in. I didn't tell them.
Why not?
Like I said, I didn't have any way to prove who I was. I had no money. My wallet was gone. My clothes were all torn. Face was all cut. I thought it'd be better if I could get to Kevin's mother. If I could see her and talk to her, she'd know what to do. I hitched a ride. I wanted to go to San Francisco. Truck driver brought me this far. While we were driving, I thought more and more about what I'd say to Kevin's mother, how I'd tell her he was dead. Then I knew I couldn't do it. But I had to tell somebody. That's why I came to see you.
Now, Bruce, we're going to have to go back down to Mexico. You'll be able to show us where the body is, won't you?
Well, if I have to go, I guess I can. But I can tell you exactly where it was. I can give you a map, tell you right where he's buried.
Do you want to give us that information now?
Yeah. It was south of Ensenada, 40 miles down the new paved highway.
South of Ensenada, 40 miles. You sure it was 40 miles?
Yeah. While we were driving, Kevin and I kept trying to figure out how many kilometers to a mile. I kept watching the speedometer. It was just 40 miles when we turned off the paved highway onto a little dirt road.
40 miles?
Yeah. There's a clump of trees near there in the gully. You can't miss it.
I see. Can you give us the description of the car, the license number?
Oh, I don't remember the license number, but the car was a 51 Ford sedan, dark blue. Car belonged to Kevin. I never paid any attention to the license.
Mm-hmm. That's K-E-V-I-N, Kevin, huh?
Yeah.
Now we can check that through DMV. What was Kevin's full name and address?
Kevin Allen Bradley. He lived at 6502 Washington Street, San Francisco. He lived with his mother, apartment on Nob Hill.
Mm-hmm. Would you give us a description of Kevin?
Well, he's about my size, generally. 5'10", 140 pounds, blue eyes. His hair's light, kind of blonde like mine, 22 years old. We looked a lot alike. Kids at school used to think we were brothers sometimes.
I see. Joe, we better get a communication to the Mexican authorities, fill them in on the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're coming down.
Yeah.
Contact San Francisco and let them handle that end of the thing. Mm-hmm. Get a teletype off the DMV in Sacramento, get a license number on the car. We better contact the San Diego PD and get a hold of Al Gate and fill him in on the thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll stay here with Bruce. You want to take care of that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, young fella, would you know these bandits again if you saw them?
I might not know some of them, but the big guy and the one that shot Kevin up, I'll never forget them. The big guy was tall, heavy, over 6 feet, well over 200 pounds. I'll never forget him. That laugh when they killed Kevin. When he laughed, you could see he had 2 gold teeth right here in front. These here.
2 gold teeth, huh?
Yeah.
Now, how about the other man, Bruce? You get a good look at him?
He was a small man, dark like the leader. He wasn't wearing a hat, real thin face. His clothes were all dirty, and his pants were torn around the bottoms. He was wearing those leather sandals, the open kind. His feet were filthy, like he hadn't had a bath in a year.
You think you'd be able to identify any of the others?
Well, I don't know. Maybe if I saw him. I was scared, and I don't mind admitting it.
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
I stopped by R&I before I went on with the other communications. Checked the name Kevin Allen Bradley through.
Yeah.
There's a teletype from San Francisco dated July 13th. It's a missing person report on Kevin. You want to read it?
What's it say? Regular missing report?
Well, it's described as male, white, American, 22 years, 5'10", 140 pounds, blonde, blue eyes, fair complexion. Time of disappearance was wearing a dark blue gabardine suit. Driving a dark blue 1951 Ford, license number 1 Robert 2951. Nothing else, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He's known to be carrying a sum of money in excess of $1,500 when he disappeared.
$1,500. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Not to Kevin. He was used to carrying that kind of money. See, his folks were pretty rich. He always had all the money he wanted.
Oh, I see. Well, how about this missing report here, Bruce?
What do you mean?
Well, didn't Kevin's mother know that he was going to Mexico?
Well, no. You see, they had an argument about where he was going to spend his summer vacation. She wanted him to go to Canada, and he wanted to come down here. One afternoon, he just took off. Kevin went to the bank and got the money and just took off.
He didn't tell his mother anything about it?
No, he thought that she'd try to stop him. Probably would have, too, if she'd known.
Oh, was the money among the things that were stolen from you?
Well, yeah. It was in Kevin's wallet in the duffel bag.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it was kind of foolish to leave that much money just laying around, but we did. We didn't think that anything had happened like this. I stop and think back over it. Kevin being dead, I don't know, I just get sick.
Now, you say you didn't have any money. How did you get along?
I didn't think much about food. The important thing was to tell somebody about Kevin's being killed. That's all I thought about, telling somebody.
Sure. Well, you must be pretty hungry then. You'd like something to eat now, would you?
Yeah, it might taste pretty good. Sandwich and some coffee. How about you guys? You gonna eat?
Frank, how about you?
Yeah, after I get communications off, I'll run across the street and pick up some sandwiches and coffee and bring them back here.
All right, fine.
What kind of sandwich you like, Bruce?
No, anything. Doesn't make any difference.
Joe?
Oh, ham's all right. White bread, a lot of mustard.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, say, Joe, I'm running kind of low on my allowance. I only got $1.50. You got a little change?
Yeah, sure.
Now, here, let me get this.
What's that?
Huh?
Did you say you had some money?
Well, I have got $10. $10 bill.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought you said the bandits took all your money. Did I get it wrong?
Well, what I meant is I didn't think I had any money. I found this 10 in my pocket just before I walked in here.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Look, you can see it's all wadded up. It must have been in my pocket for a long time. Just a 10 all wadded up.
Yeah, well, it's all crumpled up there. You can hardly tell what it is, can you?
Yeah, that's right. But you can see it's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. It's all wrinkled up. You can see how I missed it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, why don't you put everything in your pockets right here on the table, huh?
Why? What'll that show?
All right, come on, boy.
I haven't got anything in my pockets.
Well, you found the 10. Maybe you'll find something else.
All right, but I don't know what it's going to show. Pocket knife, handkerchief, comb. You got the 10 on the table there. That's all.
Maybe there's something in your coat pocket.
No, I don't carry anything in my coat pockets. Stretches them.
Well, you take a look anyway, huh?
I told you I don't use them. See? Nothing.
How about the inside pocket?
No. There's nothing there.
Let's have a look, huh?
I told you there's nothing there.
Then you won't mind if we have a look.
What's that you got there, Bruce?
That's my wallet. Guess they didn't take it after all. Gee, thanks for finding it. No, I probably wouldn't have thought to look for it. I just figured that it was gone. Here, let me have it.
Let's see what's in it, huh?
It's just some cards, personal stuff like that. Nothing you'd be interested in. I forgot all about it. I feel pretty silly. I didn't even know it was there.
Take a look, Joe. You say this is your wallet. Is that right, Bruce?
Yeah, it's mine. I told you it's mine. How about letting me have it, huh?
There's quite a bit of money in here, Bruce.
Huh?
I don't know. Just a glance here. Looks to be about $1,000, doesn't it?
Well, just a minute. I think I can explain that.
Well, there's another thing here I don't think you can explain.
What's that?
The name in the wallet. Kevin Bradley.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality. Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma. And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Yes, there's a good reason why Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, sunny yellow pack. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So next time, insist on Fatima quality. Look for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Smoke Fatima, the extra mild and soothing king-size cigarette, with the added protection of Fatima quality.
With the finding of Kevin Bradley's wallet, the case had taken a new turn. We continued to question Bruce Hamilton, but he insisted that he thought the wallet and the money had been taken by the bandits when they killed the Bradley boy. While I talked to him, Frank went down the hall and contacted the Mexican authorities and gave them the information. He gave them the description of Kevin Bradley and of Bruce Hamilton. They told him that to the best of their knowledge, there were no bandits operating in the vicinity, but they would dispatch a search party to go over the area. They said they would keep us advised of any developments that might arise. Frank also contacted the San Francisco Police Department and gave them the information. They said they'd take care of that end of the investigation. 11:47 a.m. Frank came back to the interrogation room, and we continued to question the Hamilton boy.
I told you all I know. I don't know how the money got there. I was as surprised as you were. I don't understand it. You gotta believe me.
Yeah, well, you're making it pretty tough to believe, Bruce. It's kind of hard to buy the fact that over $1,000 in Kevin's wallet turns up in your pocket and you don't know how it got there.
But it's the truth. I don't know how I can convince you that it's the truth.
Well, there are a couple of other things that aren't clear here.
What? Tell me. I'm not lying. I've got nothing to hide. What's not right? Tell me.
Well, this business of not telling the authorities.
I told you I was scared that they might not believe me. You can understand that, can't you?
Well, maybe up to a point.
I thought that if I could get to Kevin's mother, then she could take care of it. I didn't know what else to do. Then when I got to L.A., I had a chance to think about it, and I couldn't go through with it. I couldn't tell his mother. I couldn't face her.
Bruce, when you described where we could find the body, you said it was about 40 miles down the paved highway, that right?
That's what I said.
Well, how long has it been since you've been to Mexico?
Well, I told you I just came back from there. Don't you believe anything I've told you?
Well, Joe and I just finished an investigation down in Mexico. Investigation took us about 70 miles south of Ensenada. We found the highway paved for only about 5 miles south. You say 40 miles. How do you explain the difference?
Well, maybe I was wrong about the distance.
Well, you're pretty sure when you first told us about it.
Well, maybe I made a mistake.
There's something else, Bruce. It's a little hazy here.
I told you I want to help anything.
How far south of Ensenada did you say you were?
I said about 40 miles now. I'm not sure.
But you are sure that it was south of Ensenada.
Well, yeah.
And Kevin was killed on a Saturday night.
That's right.
And you started for the States right away.
That's what I said. I started walking as soon as I found the car was gone.
And you walked all the way to the border.
Well, that's right.
How'd you walk? What route did you take?
I told you I stayed off the road. I was afraid of the bandits coming back. I walked along the roadside and then through the hills. I got off the roadside whenever I saw anybody coming.
But you did walk all the way.
Yeah, that's right. All the way from Ensenada to the border.
And it took you how long?
Oh, Saturday night and Sunday night. I got a ride in San Diego in the morning.
What time do you figure that you started for the border?
Maybe 11:30, midnight. I don't know for sure.
And you stopped at dawn?
Well, yeah, I stopped and slept. Then I woke up and I started to walk.
And you're asking us to believe that you walked over 100 miles in less than 14 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
Through country like that?
What do you think? That I'm making the whole thing up? Look at my face, my back. Here, look. Does this look like my imagination?
You could have gotten these in a fight with Kevin. Maybe he didn't want you to take the money.
You keep talking about the money. I try to tell you I don't know how the money got in my pocket. I don't know anything about it. You think I killed Kevin, is that right?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it?
But he was my best friend. I had no reason to kill him. He was my friend.
Now, look, son, we better get this thing straight for you. You've opened up a can of beans here. You waltz in here and give us a cock and bull story about this killing. Parts of your story we can't buy. Why are you trying to sell it to us? You lied about the road. You lied about the money. The story about how you walked doesn't ring true. You want to know what I really think, Bruce? I think the whole thing's a lie from start to finish. A lie. Now, let's come off it. Who killed Kevin Bradley?
I don't know. I don't know.
Now, get this straight, Bruce. Did you kill him?
Huh?
Did you kill Kevin Bradley? Is that the reason for this story?
No, I didn't.
Well, somebody did. Can you tell us who?
You're getting me all mixed up.
You're the one that's getting it mixed up, Bruce. We just want to know who killed Kevin Bradley.
We think maybe it was you.
Looks like it might have been.
No, it couldn't be. Leave me alone. I didn't do it.
Why couldn't you have done it? Looks like you did.
Because Kevin Bradley isn't dead.
What's that?
He was never killed. I'm Kevin Bradley.
The boy broke down completely and admitted that the whole thing was a hoax. He said he hadn't been in Mexico at all, but that he had spent the past week in a downtown hotel working out the story that he planned to tell us. He admitted that the wounds were self-inflicted. He explained that he had scratched his own face and hit himself with a rock to produce the cuts and bruises. He went on to say that he had picked Mexico as the scene of the false killing because he thought the story would be more difficult to trace. Like many citizens, he was unaware of the close cooperation between American law enforcement agencies and the Mexican authorities. We asked him about the existence of a Bruce Hamilton, and he told us there was such a boy in his class at school. 12:50 p.m. The communication had come through from San Francisco, and the teletype said that Mrs. Bradley was en route to Los Angeles to aid in the investigation. When we told Kevin about this, he lapsed into silence, and for another hour refused to say anything. 2:05 p.m.
All right, now look, boy, you've been sitting there for an hour and you haven't said a word. If there's something you want to say, we'll listen.
There's nothing to say. I tried to get away from her. All my life she's told me what to do. I tried to tell her, but I couldn't. Nobody would understand. You don't, you can't. Every time I tried to get away, she'd say something or do something so I couldn't leave. I was trapped and I didn't know what to do. Then I thought I did know, and even that didn't work. I thought that if you told her I was dead, she'd forget me. Leave me alone. I can't even die right.
Kevin, you're here. I knew what they told me was wrong. I knew you were all right.
Hello, Mother.
What happened to you, Kevin, darling? Your face, your clothes. Oh, my poor baby, how did this happen? Are you all right? Oh, your poor face all cut. What's happened, Kevin?
It's all right, Mother.
No, it's not all right. I don't know what happened or who did this awful thing, but I'll take care of it. Officer.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you know about this?
I beg your pardon?
What do you know about this? Did you do it? Did you hit this poor boy? Look at this poor face. Just look at it. It's terrible. That's what it is. It's terrible. I mean to find out just what happened here. I'll get to the bottom of this. No, don't you worry, Kevin, baby. Mother's here. She'll take care of you.
Mother, please.
It's all right, honey. Everything will be all right.
Mother, these officers had nothing to do with it.
Of course not. If you say so, Kevin, baby. Have you called the doctor about this? Have you gotten in touch with someone to take care of his face? Never mind. I'll take him to a doctor. I'll look after him. Poor baby. Mother will look after him.
Mother, please don't.
Now, Kevin, you know that Mother knows what's best. Mother will take care of you.
Stop it. Shut up.
Heaven.
I'm sick of it, tired of it. For 20 years, as long as I can remember, you've taken care of things. Did you ever think I might want to take care of a few things myself? Have you ever thought that I wasn't a kid anymore? I'm an adult. Like it says on the missing report, male, white American, 22 years, an adult.
All right, take it easy, son.
No, I've tried to say this before, and I've never had the nerve. I've got it now, and I'm going to finish. I'm tired of having you make all the arrangements for me. I'm going to have dates with girls that I want to go out with, not the ones you pick for me. I'm going to get a job and make my own way. I'm going to buy a car, and if I smash it up and me along with it, it's my business. I'll never forgive you for what you've done. You spent 20 years making me an outsider, always on the fringe. I couldn't do the things I wanted to, only the things you wanted me to do, only the things you thought best. I'm sick of having you make the decisions for me. From here on in, I'm going to make them myself. I tried to kill Kevin Bradley for no reason. You killed him a long time ago. Take a good look at me, Mother. Take a good look and see what you've done. I hate the sight of you. I hate everything about you. Now leave me alone and go away.
All right, take it easy, boy.
It's all right, officer. I understand. Sometimes he gets like this. He doesn't mean it. I know him. All right, Kevin. I'm sure the officers are impressed. Dry your eyes and we'll go home. Do you hear me, Kevin? Stop this foolishness, I said. We're going home.
Yes, Mother, I hear you.
I'm sorry, officer. Embarrassing. I don't know why he does these things. He's always been pretty emotional.
Yes, ma'am.
There's nothing else. We better be going. I want to catch the early train back to the city. There's a party planned for tomorrow night. A million things to do. We'll have to help Kevin. Kevin, do you hear me?
Yes, Mother, I hear you.
Well, then say goodbye to the officers and let's go.
Goodbye, Mr. Friday. Mr. Smith. I'm sorry this all happened.
Yes, so are we, son.
I tried, Sergeant. Just didn't work, but I did try.
Kevin, let's go. I don't want to miss that plane.
Yes, Mother.
Oh, Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for giving my boy back to me.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 9th, the matter was taken before the city attorney for a decision. In a moment, the results of that decision.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, if you're planning a trip this coming holiday weekend, I'd like to suggest that you take Fatima's along with you. Get a carton or two, and that way you'll have enough to last the trip. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness and a really different flavor and aroma. You get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. That's king-size Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack and carton.
In the interest of justice, there was no complaint filed against Kevin Allen Bradley. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, Edwin Bruce, Sarah Selby. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Friday, hear the Mario Lanza Show on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, International Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story of The Little Man's Lament.
They called it Margate Mansion, but the name didn't fit. It was a pile of old cement and cracked stucco held up by a half a dozen tired palm trees. The people inside didn't fit either. A crusty old lady who talked backwards, a redhead with an urge to travel fast. But it was Junior who won first prize. He was half Einstein and half Hollywood playboy. Only when this boy played, it was with poison. It started on a Tuesday. I was headed down Taft Avenue on the way to the laundromat. I had a date with a washing machine and a blonde cashier named Gloria. That's when a cab pulled up beside me and the Lion hopped out. He was blowing sparks out of a fat cigar. I could tell by the 50-cent smell that we had a new client.
Oh, Jeffrey, my boy, I'm glad I caught you.
Get back in the cab, Fatso. I'm busy.
But I have to talk to you. I was just going up to your apartment.
Have a good time. I'll be out all day.
Now, Jeffrey, is that any way to talk after all I've done for you? After the many opportunities I've given you to help your fellow beings in distress?
I've worked 3 weeks without a rest. I gotta wash my socks.
Wash your socks? You can talk about a thing like that when I'm here to present you with a golden opportunity? An opportunity to demonstrate our humanitarian sentiments? A chance to lift one who's in trouble?
How much did you lift from him?
$100, and it's not a him, it's a her. Oh, it's really a simple job, Jeffrey. Very simple. I've just been over there. Lovely old house, fine old family. The Margates, flower of the old South.
Gone to see.
Well, yes. But you know how it is with descendants of old families. Fresh young growth choked back by the weeds of the old family stock. The fresh new plant smothered by decay and ruin.
Try Vigoro.
Regan, you don't seem to understand. We've been retained by Mrs. Margate. It's about her nephew, Hilary Margate. Strange youth, very strange youth indeed. If Mrs. Margate needs protection from him, I tell you, it's a very serious matter.
Well, so's my laundry.
Regan, will you listen to me?
There's another choice?
Yes. See Mrs. Margate, root out the facts.
Get her a gardener.
She doesn't need a gardener. She needs you, and don't give me any more trouble.
Okay, sweetheart. Here.
You wait a minute. What's it?
My laundry. Put the shirts and socks in a washing machine, put 2 bits in the slot. And stay away from the blonde. She doesn't like cigar smoke.
Regan, this means you will see Mrs. Margate?
Don't try to be coy. You knew I'd see her the minute you stepped out of that cab. I walked up Vine and turned right past Franklin. All the places up there are old, but Margate Mansion was old when William S. Hart was Gene Autry. A bunch of turrets made out of wood that termites wouldn't look at. But I was looking at what was standing in the front bay window looking at me. Red hair and wide eyes and a complexion like skim milk. She was what answered the door when I twisted the old-fashioned bell.
Hello. I saw you from the window.
Yeah, I saw you seeing me.
Come in. Come in, please.
Thanks.
I hope you don't mind the disorder. I'm afraid I don't... Your name?
Regan.
Oh. Sit here, Mr. Regan. Please don't mind the dust on the sofa. No one nice ever comes, so it doesn't matter. I like you. I want you to stay.
It shows.
You're not married or anything like that, Mr. Regan.
Nothing like that.
Oh, that's nice. I'm not married either, Mr. Regan.
I heard it was Mrs. Margate.
Oh, that's my aunt. I'm not married at all. Mr. Regan, you didn't just come to see my aunt.
I've got a lot of time.
Oh, I've been foolish again, haven't I? Oh, sometimes I get so mixed up. I'm...
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Yes, Mr. Regan.
What's your name?
Wesleyan.
Mrs. Margate's niece.
Yes.
Hilary's your brother?
Yes, Mr. Regan. All those questions.
Business.
Business?
International Detective Bureau. Your aunt's on the line for $100 worth.
A detective?
Well, that's polite for it.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me that. You shouldn't have told me that at all.
Suppose you tell me some things.
I'm mixed up, Mr. Regan. I can't tell.
Gwendolyn!
What's my aunt?
Did I hear the front door bell?
Don't say anything. Don't tell her.
I did hear the front door. Well, Gwendolyn, who is this man?
Regan.
Regan? Oh, you're the man they call the Lion's Eye. I've been expecting you. I'm gardening.
I should have figured.
What? Oh, I have a green thumb, as they say. Follow me. Go to your room, Gwendolyn.
Yes, Annie.
Gwendolyn?
Yes, Annie, I'm going.
She went all right, like a rabbit at a greyhound race. Only I wasn't sure this rabbit could stay ahead of the dogs. But right then I had another problem, keeping up with Mrs. Margate. It wasn't the way she walked, it was her talk that winded me.
Go to the garden. My niece and my nephew problems that weigh heavily on my heart, Mr. Regan. Oh, this way. Family collapsing and falling to ruin. Just 3 Margates left. Myself and the 2 children, Gwendolyn and Hillary. Only 52 years old with such responsibilities.
Hillary?
No, myself, of course. 52. But Hillary's the real problem. You follow me?
Right behind you.
What? Oh, yes, out this door. Oh, the garden. There. You see that pool by the date palm?
Uh-huh.
Fish. Carp, Mr. Regan. He concocts things. Hillary brews things, poisons. One day he fed something he had brewed to Hilary F. Margate, Sr., the carp, and he turned bright green.
Hillary?
The carp. We found him next morning floating belly up, stark bright green. Hilary F. Margate, Sr., the carp. We name our fish after the dear departed members of our family.
Nice custom.
Yes. Hilary poisoned the carp when he was only 146 years old.
The carp?
Yes. Come along. Hilary was only a boy at the time. Such a problem, Mr. Regan. Oh, here, my vegetable garden. Have an onion, Mr. Regan. Delicious.
Yeah. Look, Mrs. Margate.
Eat the onion, Mr. Regan. George is my gardener.
I'm over here, Mrs. Margaret.
Oh, well, you can go out back and cut the weeds, George. Mr. Regan and I have some private matters to discuss.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, ma'am, George. Excellent. And be sure you get them all, George. We must be rid of the weeds.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Now we're alone, Mr. Regan. The onion, go on, eat it. As I was saying, Hillary, that boy, such a problem.
Yeah, as you were saying.
Yes. Good, aren't they?
Mrs. Margate, what is it you want me to do?
Do? Well, I want you to look after Hillary.
I was told you wanted protection.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
No. Hillary needs a nursemaid. That's not our line.
No, see here, Mr. Regan. International Detective Bureau has already agreed to handle my case. Mr. Lyon himself accepted my check.
He'll accept anyone's check.
But he promised to help.
Well, then talk to him.
I'm talking to you. I'm explaining.
You're explaining nothing. You give me a lot of double talk, and I have a feeling that's all you want to give me. Now, make sense.
All right. You're going to force me to say what I hoped never to say to anyone. Not anyone. My life is in danger.
I can believe that.
My tea. Yesterday, I noticed the odor of almonds.
I'm listening.
No, I didn't drink it naturally. Naturally. Hillary brewed that tea, Mr. Regan. My nephew.
Now you've said something. Where is he?
Ocean Park, the shooting gallery.
Shooting gallery?
Yes, he's strange, very strange. He brews things, collects guns, practices shooting. You won't like him.
Suppose I go talk to him.
Well, you'd better. As I've said, Mr. Regan, I don't wish to be murdered.
I headed the car down La Brea to Olympic and then out to the Ocean Park Pier. It was afternoon business, popcorn and sailor style. The shooting gallery had one customer, a kid in a corduroy sport coat with a face like a cantaloupe out of season. He was taking shots at the little swinging targets. You didn't need the family album to figure him for Hilary Margate. I walked over, but he didn't take the gun from his shoulder.
Leeks.
Come again?
Leeks. Scallions.
My name's Regan.
Allia masculinica, Mr. Regan. Onions. You've been eating them.
So?
This suggests you're the private detective hired by my aunt. Bullseye?
You read palms, too?
I fancy myself an amateur detective, Mr. Regan. I seldom miss.
I notice.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Regan, I'm interested in hiring you myself.
Oh, that's a switch.
I think there's going to be a murder.
Anybody I know?
Yes, my aunt.
Who plays the heavy?
The heavy?
Who's going to kill her?
I am.
Practicing?
I don't need practice, Mr. Regan.
Even experts get the chair.
Possibly.
All right, Junior, let's start making sense.
Very well, Mr. Regan. My aunt is a domineering autocrat. Actually, I should hate to kill her. But I feel I must. To protect myself, you understand.
From what?
You know, I dabble in poisons, Mr. Regan. I am empoisonné, as the French say. Poisoner. When I was 15...
I heard that one, yeah. Hilary F. Margate Sr., the carp.
Oh, he died a horrible death.
My regrets. Now, get to the point.
Ours is an evil household, Mr. Regan. The last of the Margates, a decaying race. My aunt, for example, and Gwethelin.
I met her.
Then you understand that something must be done. This is an urgent matter, Mr. Regan. It would be wise to take my case.
One Margate for a client's too many.
Very well, Mr. Regan. But you want information. Perhaps I'll give it to you tomorrow. I'll phone you. As they say on the radio, you may save a life. Possibly your own.
It made a real funny joke the way he said it. Only I wasn't laughing. And neither was he. I got in my car and started for town to tell the lion he'd been underpaid. All the way in, I kept getting a picture of a mechanical rabbit going around a track. I tried putting Gwethelin's face on it, and Mrs. Margate's, then Hilary's. The others didn't fit. Gwethelin's did. I was still thinking about it when I parked on Hill Street and got out to walk. And that's when I put another face on the rabbit, my own. The guy who fell in behind me and started following was no greyhound, but he had squeaky shoes that slowed down when I slowed down. We stayed together for a block, and when I turned left toward the office, he turned left. I wondered if he was an amateur. I found out when I sidestepped into an alley and pulled him in after me. All right, Buster, this is where you get off.
Hey, say, what the devil?
Come on, who hired you?
Let me go.
Give me some answers.
Talk. You want muscles, huh? Muscles? All right. I got him.
He had him all right, and he knew where to use him. He had a bald head, and he used that, too, right in the middle of my stomach. I shouldn't have bent double, but I did. It was a setup. The next blow sent me around the fender of a truck parked in the alley. I went to my knees. When I came up, it was too late. The bald head was gone. But someone else was there.
Mr. Regan.
It was Gwethelin Margate.
Mr. Regan, you should be careful. You all right?
He was following me.
No, Mr. Regan, no, he wasn't. I was going to your office. He was following me.
She was ready to talk, but the fog in my head wouldn't let me listen. I got her around the corner into a bar. She waited until the waiter brought the drinks.
2 Bourbon Street, Mr. Regan. And if I may say so, this is a lovely tomato you're escorting to my humble palate.
You said so.
And may I say, Mr. Regan, I'm also partial to redheads. On account of my first love was a redhead. She played second flute in our orchestra.
Sure. Keep the change.
That was when I was with Stokowski. The Hollywood Bowl, how well I remember. Me and my fiddle. We made together beautiful music. Me and the fiddle, you understand, not the redhead. She gave me nothing but the cold shoulder on account she was hot for a guy that played bass.
Come on, you told me this story yesterday.
You don't wish to hear the story of my life, Mr. Regan? Well, it was the same way with Mr. Stokowski. The artist is lost in the world of today.
All right. Now we can talk.
I don't know, Mr. Regan.
Who was following you?
It doesn't matter. I'm used to it, Mr. Regan.
Who was the mug?
It doesn't matter, Mr. Regan. It's too late anymore. I thought...
You thought what?
I thought you'd help me, Mr. Regan. I was on my way to your office.
Why?
There's going to be trouble, Mr. Regan. Serious trouble.
What says so?
Everything. Hillary, my aunt, they're all acting so strangely. And those people who come to the house.
People? Who?
I don't know. The man who was following me is one of them. Oh, something strange is going on, Mr. Regan. Something terrible.
You still haven't told me anything.
Don't you see? It isn't anything I can tell you. It's a feeling. A terrible feeling. Everything's wrong.
I've got to have facts, lady.
I don't... Wait. There's one thing.
Yeah?
The gardener, Mr. Hendricks.
George?
Yes. My aunt knows him, Mr. Regan. Better than just a gardener. Something else.
What?
George has been in prison. I know he's been in prison. I heard him say something once on the telephone.
To who?
I don't know. so much I don't know.
That makes two of us.
You don't believe me. You've got to believe me. Something terrible's going to happen.
Sure. Hillary's going to kill your aunt.
Hillary? Oh, no. That's not it at all. It's me they're going to kill, don't you see? They're going to kill me.
After that, I couldn't get anything out of her that made sense. I loaded her in a cab and then walked over to Pershing Square to feed the pigeons. Maybe something would come to me. Nothing did, except the pigeons. After a while, I went over to the Examiner morgue to look up George Hendricks. There was nothing, not a word. But the Lion has ways of finding those things out, so I went back to the office. The Lion had information, all right, but not the kind I expected.
Regan, where have you been? I've been calling every saloon in the city.
You got the wrong one.
I often wonder why I hired you.
Okay, Fatso, why the steam?
I'll tell you why. Because you were supposed to be on the Margate case, that's why.
What do you think I've been doing?
I know what you're going to be doing. You're going to get out to Margate Mansion right now and fast. They just found Hillary Margate in his room. He's been shot through the head.
This is CBS, and you're listening to The Story of the Little Man's Lament. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Here's a special word for those of you who are interested in setting up a retirement fund. One that will permit you to have some of the good things of life before you're too old to enjoy them. Join the payroll savings plan where you work and invest in United States savings bonds. Under this plan, your firm sets aside whatever sum you name from each paycheck and uses the money to buy savings bonds for you. Buy United States bonds and keep them. And now, back to tonight's story of the Little Man's Lament and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Nothing made sense. There were three Margates, the old lady, her nephew Hillary, and his sister, Gwethelyn. And all three of them wanted to hire me to stop a murder. Then the Lion tells me Hillary Margate has just been shot. Well, one thing was sure. With three people to work for, one of them was bound to turn up dead. I put the Lion to work looking up the gardener, George Hendricks. Then I hopped in the car and headed out to the Margate place off Franklin Avenue. By the time I got there, it was turning dark. Out front, a black and white Nash said, "Police," in big letters. But when the old lady opened the door, she acted as though she'd never heard of police.
Oh, Mr. Regan, please come in. I'm sorry you didn't get to meet him. Hillary, strange boy.
I met him.
You did? Oh, this way, Mr. Regan. Well, it's no matter. It was inevitable. Hillary's uncle, my husband, before he died, warned me something like this would happen. He was a young fool, Hillary.
How did it happen?
Happen? Oh, with a gun, of course. How else could one shoot oneself except with a gun? In here, Mr. Regan, we won't be bothered by them. Sometimes police can be so nosy. Do sit down. We shall have tea.
With or without almonds?
I know what you're thinking, Mr. Regan, but I'm sure it had nothing to do with it.
What did?
Just a moment, Mr. Regan. There's someone at our door. Well, Gwethelyn?
I was just coming to see you, Andy. I thought you'd want me to tell Mr. Regan about Hillary.
Yes, a good idea. Mr. Regan, I'll let Gwethelyn tell you. She was here at the time. Oh, she was a lovely woman. Gwethelyn's mother, my late sister. Well, go ahead, child. Go ahead.
I got home about 5.
Better sit down, child. No, not there. Here.
Yes, Auntie. Well, Mr. Regan, Hillary was in the gun room reading. I went in to talk to him, but he ordered me out of the room. He said he didn't want to be disturbed. He was concentrating.
Go on.
I left the room. A couple of minutes later, I heard a shot. When I went back, he was there. Hillary. On the floor, dead.
Then you called the police.
I told Auntie. She called them.
They've been so nice, the police. They promised not to disturb me any more than necessary. Wasn't that nice?
They're in his room now?
With Hillary. Dear Hillary.
Yeah, he won't need me anymore. I think I'd better be going.
Oh, yes, of course. Gwethelyn, see Mr. Regan to the door like a good girl.
Yes, honey.
And come again sometime soon, Mr. Regan. We shall have tea together.
Thanks.
This way, Mr. Regan. Mr. Regan, I've got to talk to you this way quickly.
What's on your mind?
About Hillary. Something he did tonight.
Like what?
When he came home, before that, he had a book. A big book. He was reading it when it happened. Why would he read a book and then shoot himself?
You got me. What was the title?
I don't know. But when the police came, the book was gone.
Where did he buy it?
I don't know that either. But I'm sure it's important, Mr. Regan. I'm sure of it. You don't think it's important?
I don't know. I reach for answers. Sometimes they come up air.
I know something else, Mr. Regan. It's about George. George Hendricks, our gardener.
Yeah?
He disappeared this afternoon after it.
Go on.
Andy sent for him when the police arrived, but he wasn't in his room. The police were angry. They think he might have done it.
And you think so, too?
I'm not sure, Mr. Regan. I'm not sure of anything now.
She turned and ran into the house and left me with a lot of night air and cool breeze. If Hendricks had taken a powder, the police would check that angle. That left me with a book. A very big book. I walked down Franklin toward my car. Up ahead, I saw a small man in a black suit locking up a shop door. Over his head, a sign said Franklin Avenue Bookshop. That did it. I caught him before he closed up.
I beg your pardon.
You know a Hillary Margate lives up the street?
Yes, I know him. Why?
Was he in today?
He's a regular customer.
Was he in? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did he buy a book?
No.
You sure?
Positive. He asked for a volume we didn't have.
What volume?
I don't remember the title because we didn't have it in stock. It was a textbook.
Textbook?
Yes, on horticulture. Plants.
Plants?
Does that mean something to you?
Yeah. It could explain why the Margate family has gone to seed. It was crazy, but it was beginning to untangle. I headed for my car up the street. Before I touched the starter, I found out I had company.
All right, Regan, drive.
The gun in my back told me he meant it. One look in the mirror told me he was George Hendricks. Well, you're calling him. Where to?
Your apartment. I want to talk. Have a chair, Regan. It's your house.
Thanks.
I talk. You sit and listen.
I can stand.
I say sit down.
It's your party, Hendricks.
There's been an accident at the Margate house.
I heard.
Hillary shot himself.
That right?
You think different?
Changed my mind.
I didn't kill him, Regan.
Who said you did?
I never could get used to confinement.
Oh. San Quentin?
Sandstone, Minnesota.
Tell me more.
Listen, Regan, the police don't like guys with a record.
What was your rap, Hendricks?
Checks, something like that. Forgery.
So why tell me?
You're moving in my direction, Regan. I don't like it.
Is that why you ran?
There's something else.
Yeah?
The name. It isn't Hendricks. It's Margate.
What's that?
Freehold Quincy Margate.
No wonder you changed it.
There were several reasons.
Yeah, old South family.
Listen, Regan, you gotta believe me. I didn't kill Hillary. I didn't have anything to do with it.
You know a big guy, bald head with a stupid face?
Morley. He works at the Margate place part-time.
What's his job?
Flunky. He works in the garden with me.
When he isn't tailing the girl.
Leave me out of that part of it.
Well, do I answer that?
Yes, but watch what you say.
Regan.
Regan, I expected to hear from you sooner. What's happened to you? Regan, are you there?
Yeah, just got here.
What's the matter? Someone with you?
You're a genius.
Well, I just found out about Hendricks.
You guessed it.
You mean he's there?
Go on.
Listen, that's not his real name, Regan. He's a Margate. Freehold Quincy Margate. Age 46, height 5'11", weight 180.
Get to the point.
Well, about that prison record, quite correct. It was 8 years ago. Charge?
Narcotics violation.
Oh, yes, but be careful. He'll hear you.
No, he won't. He just went out the door, fast. I had what I needed. I averaged 50 down Franklin and pulled up in front of the Margate place 10 minutes later. It was dark and it looked empty, like a beer can after a picnic. I found an open window and crawled in. It was the gun room, and that meant I didn't have to go much farther. But somebody changed my mind for me when the door suddenly opened, and a hunk of orange lightning stabbed in my direction. I ducked and the chair next to me toppled over. I couldn't wait for the next one.
Let me go!
Drop it.
You're hurting my...
That's better. Now some lights.
Mr. Regan, I thought you were one of them.
I'm not. That book Hillary was reading. What? I'm in a hurry, baby.
You already know, don't you, Mr. Regan? All right. I didn't see it closely. It had pictures of plants.
Like the ones in your backyard?
Yes. I didn't know what it meant until...
Until Hillary got it, and then you were too scared to talk. Why?
Mr. Regan, Hillary didn't poison my aunt's tea. They only said he did so they could kill me and then blame him for it. That way they'd be rid of both of us.
Yeah, but Hillary caught on too quick.
That's why they killed him, Mr. Regan. Oh, don't let them know, I know.
It won't matter now, baby. I circled around the house in a hurry. Empty. Then I tried the garden. That's when I saw it. 50 yards behind the house. A strange light at first, then something red that began to grow. Then smoke and more smoke. I ran to the back of the garden in the flames. She saw me coming.
Stand back, Mr. Regan.
Maybe tomorrow, Mrs. Margate.
I warn you, Regan. Stand back.
You hired me, remember?
Take one more step, Mr. Regan, and Morley will kill you.
You figured he'd be around? Put that gun down, Morley. The smoke's getting in your eyes.
No. Shoot him, Morley. Shoot him.
You're too late for that. I drove across the column of smoke and caught his arm as he tried to find me with that gun. I got to him first. I owed him something for what he'd given me in that alley, and I paid him back with interest. The old lady just stood there and glared at me, the fire reflecting in her eyes. It took me 10 minutes in my best sport coat to stop the blaze. But the price was cheap, because where the fire had been was a nice pile of Exhibit A. It looks just like an ordinary plant, but the police call it marijuana. Somebody spotted the smoke and called the fire department. The police were right behind them and loaded the last of the Margates into the wagon. And it was like Greth said. She was scheduled to turn up poison, and I was supposed to testify that Hillary had done it. Only Hillary caught on too fast, and they gave him a bullet for his trouble. And after I finished up at headquarters, I went to the office and filled the lion in. He was disappointed.
And this fella the police picked up at the depot, this Hendricks, he wasn't the culprit we were looking for?
He was under the old lady's thumb like the rest of the family. She blackmailed him into growing this stuff. With his record, he couldn't afford to squawk.
He couldn't afford to squawk. How do you think I feel?
You got a check for $100, didn't you?
Well, yes, I did.
She did pay you, didn't she?
Well, you see, Jeffrey, that is, she gave me a check when I first went out there for $100.
You said that.
Well, I didn't think anything of it at the time, but... well, you see, her brother-in-law...
You mean...
Well, that is, Hendricks did have a prison record for narcotics violation, but, well, it seems upon examining the records more closely, there was an earlier sentence for,
bad checks.
Yes. It seems to run in the family.
I don't get paid this week.
Go on. Quit me. Kick a man when he's down.
Oh, stop it.
You know I never withhold payment when I have it. Right now, I don't have it. Maybe next week.
If you wait 2 weeks, it'll be Thanksgiving.
What's that mean?
You can have the end of the turkey I've been getting.
Jeffrey, you're not being kind. Remember my heart.
I'll try.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. Now, here's 25 cents.
For what?
Go over and pick up your laundry. I forgot to wait for it.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and William Fifield, directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Wednesday at 9 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You get a call that a man has had a heart attack, fallen and fractured his skull. It looks like an accidental death. Your job, investigate. Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality.
Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Switch to Fatima yourself today.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 10:46 p.m. when we got to 2102 West Francis Avenue. The front door.
Yes?
Miss Prater?
Yes, that's right.
Police officers, ma'am.
Oh, yes, of course. Come in.
Thank you. Well, I'm Sergeant Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
How do you do, ma'am?
How do you do, Mr. Smith? Won't you sit down?
Yes, thank you very much.
Doctor said you'd be here. Guess he told you about the accident.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if there's something you want to know, I guess I can tell you about it.
Mm-hmm. Your husband's full name was Alfred Kenneth Prater, is that right?
Yes, Alfred Kenneth.
I wonder if we could go in, Miss Prater.
Yes, it's in the dining room.
Yes, ma'am.
We just finished dinner, and Alfred got up from the table, said he wanted to see the ball game on television. Excused himself and got up, then all of a sudden he put his hand on his chest and started to stagger. Said something about his heart. Asked me to help him.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, I jumped up to go to him. He just crumpled and fell. With his head on the table, lay there, didn't move. The doctor said his skull might be fractured. That's what it might have killed him.
Did you call the doctor right away?
No, I stayed with Alfred. My mother called Dr. Adams. He's her own doctor. When we got here, poor Alfred was gone.
Try to take it easy. Dr. Adams, he's the one that called us.
Yes, he said he would. Something about a death certificate. I didn't understand it.
Well, Miss Prater, maybe you'd like to go into the living room.
Yes, please.
Can we get you anything? Glass of water or anything?
No, I'll be all right. It'll just take a minute.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Just a few more questions. Did your husband have a history of a bad heart? Any trouble like this before?
Not that I know of. He never said anything about it. He used to work awfully hard, long hours.
Well, has your husband been under the care of a physician?
No, never was sick. Had a doctor where we used to live. Since we've been here, we haven't had any need for one.
Your husband ever give you any indication there was something wrong with his heart?
No, if there was something wrong, Alfred would have said something about it. We had no secrets. Told each other everything. Married 14 years and never had a single fight that amounted to anything. Wonderful husband. And you couldn't ask for anything more. Good provider.
Well, who was here when your husband had the accident, ma'am?
My mother, she lives with us.
She here now?
Yes, she's in the next room lying down. In a trying time, officer.
Yes, ma'am.
All those years, Alfred and me. When Ray was born, he's 9 now. Happy family. All the neighbors used to tell me how lucky I was, but I knew it. I knew it. Now it's all gone.
I wonder if we could speak to your mother, Miss Prater.
Yes, of course. I'll get her. Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
She's 55. Hasn't been too well lately, and this whole thing's been quite a shock for her. I'd appreciate it if you'd be as brief as possible.
Yes, ma'am. We understand.
Mother? Mother, are you awake?
Yes, dear. What is it?
Well, there are 2 officers out in the living room. They'd like to talk to you.
What about?
It's about Alfred.
Alfred, what about him?
I just wanted to ask you some questions. Nothing wrong.
I'll tell him I'll be right there.
All right, dear.
be right out, officers.
All right, thank you, Miss Prater.
Can I get you something? A cup of coffee or something?
No, not a thing, thank you.
No, ma'am. Thank you very much.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a pot of tea for Mother and myself.
Yes, go right ahead.
Do you want to come out in the kitchen? We can talk while I put the water on.
All right, ma'am.
Did you call the coroner, Frank?
Yeah, Joe, before we left the office. Should be here in a minute now. Have to get a sketch of the room before he removes the body.
Yeah.
Ray's the one who's going to suffer for it.
How's that now?
Poor little kid. He and his father were great friends. I don't know what he's going to do when he really knows what's happened.
Well, doesn't the boy know about it yet?
Yes, he was here when it happened, but I don't think he realizes yet what it means.
How old did you say he was, ma'am?
9. 9 last month.
Where is he now, Miss Prater?
He's in his room, asleep. Here's Mother now, officers. Mother?
Yes, dear.
Mother? This is Mr. Friday and Mr. Smith from the police. My mother, Mrs. Atkins.
Hello.
How do you do, ma'am?
Ellen says there's something about Alfred?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
I don't see any need to call the police. Accident, that's what the doctor said.
Well, there's no death certificate, ma'am. We have to look into it. It's just routine.
Mrs. Prater told us pretty much what we want to know. We'd just like to get your side of it.
Sure, I was there, you know. I saw it all. He got up from the table, said he had a heart attack. Well, he wasn't fooling me.
I beg your pardon?
He wasn't fooling me. I knew. Heart attack. Phooey.
I don't understand.
He was drunk.
Mother.
Well, I still think he was, and you ain't going to change my mind.
Had Mr. Prater been drinking?
No. Well, he maybe had a drink on the way home from work, you know, to relax him a little.
Mm-hmm.
Relax him. There was no trouble relaxing him. Big thing was to get him off the dime. Laziest man I ever knew. I told her not to marry him. I was against it all the time. I knew his type. Out carousing around. Hanging around in bars. And he'd come home and take it out on poor Ellen and little Ray.
Mother, please. Alfred was my husband. He's Ray's father. He's dead. Find a little forgiveness in your heart.
That's all I'll find. A little. Officer, I'm not afraid to say what I think. I didn't like him. I never did. As far as I'm concerned, he was no good. Drunken bum, that's all he was. He hated me. He never did like me. Regretted every mouthful of food I ate. Never was too quiet about it either.
Mother, that's not true. Alfred never regretted having you here with us.
Well, that's what you say, and I know different. He might have died from a heart attack, all right. But if he did, that was that cheap liquor brought it on. Got up from the table, staggered around, and fell. Well, you say it was his heart, and I say he was drunk. Just plain drunk.
Well, how about it, Miss Prater? Had Mr. Prater been drinking enough to make him fall, do you think?
Certainly not, officer. You'll have to excuse Mother. She doesn't mean what she's saying.
I do, too. If you're going to call me a liar, I'm going to my room. When you're sorry about what you said, you can call me.
You'll have to forgive her. She doesn't know what she's saying.
Yes, ma'am.
My father died when I was very young, Sergeant. That was all Mother had. Guess she never did think any man was good enough for me.
I hate to do this, Mrs. Prater, but there are some questions we have to ask for our report if you'll bear with us.
Of course, I understand.
You said his full name was Alfred Kenneth Prater, is that right?
Yes.
What was his age?
36. Birthday's November 22nd.
How about his physical description?
5'11", 167 pounds. Front door. You mind answering it?
Not at all, ma'am. My imagine's for us anyway. I'll get it, Joe.
Miss Prater, we'd like to get this straight. Just your mother, your son, and yourself were present when this accident occurred, is that right?
Yes, just the three of us. The water's ready. You sure you don't want a cup of tea?
No, ma'am. Thanks just the same.
How about the other officers?
No, I don't think you'll want any either. About your boy, Ray, Miss Prater.
What about him?
You said he was asleep?
That's right. We put him to bed right after the accident. He was so close to Alfred. They were great friends. Thought it might be best if he went back to sleep. You want to see him?
Well, probably better if he sleeps right now. We can talk to him in the morning if we have to.
I'd appreciate it if you could, Mr. Friday. He's just a boy and all this. You know.
Surely, ma'am. We understand.
Deputy Coroner Joy's taking care of the body.
Well, what about that?
You're going to take Alfred now?
Yes, ma'am.
Will he be? Can I go along? Poor Alfred.
There's no need for it, ma'am. There'll be an inquest after the autopsy. We'll give you a call about that. We know how you feel, ma'am. We don't like to intrude at a time like this, but it's one of our duties, there being no doctor in attendance at the time of death. Meantime, if there's anything we can do for you, here's our card, and you let us know anything at all.
Thank you very much. Michigan 5211.
That's right, that's right. Station 2521.
All right, Mr. Friday. Terrible thing. Can't hardly believe it. Alfred dead. Terrible. Officers?
Yes, ma'am?
I hope you didn't take Mother seriously about Alfred drinking. I know she didn't really mean it.
Well, don't worry about it, Miss Prater. We understand.
Don't forget to call us if there's anything you need.
I won't. Good night, Mr. Friday, Mr. Smith.
Good night, ma'am.
That That's one for you, huh, Joe?
Yeah.
Even when he's dead, his mother-in-law won't leave him alone. Must have been a real pleasant life.
He's been rough on his wife, too, huh?
Hey, you.
Joe, you hear that?
I think I did over there to the window, didn't I?
Yeah, there's somebody there.
Well, did you call us, son?
Yeah. You the cops?
Yeah, that's right. Is there something you wanted?
Yeah, I'm Ray Prater. Something I wanted to tell you.
All right, what is it, son?
About my father. I don't want Mom to hear me. She'd be sorry if she knew I told you. I'm supposed to be asleep.
What's that, Ray?
I've been sitting here listening to you talk to me. She told me she'd tell you, and she didn't.
Tell us what, Ray?
Maybe I shouldn't tell you. Mom said she'd take care of it. I just don't know what to do. I tried to think of what Dad did. He always said if there was something wrong to find a policeman and tell him.
All right, son. What is it you want to tell us?
About Dad. Just before he fell and hit his head, he was finishing dinner. He drank a glass of milk and put the glass down on the table and he said to Mom, "This milk tastes bitter." Just like that. This milk tastes bitter. I tried mine, but it tastes all right.
Now, go ahead.
Well, a little bit after it, he got up from the table and he fell and hit his head.
Did your mother hear him say that about the milk?
Yes, sir. She was right there.
Well, why'd you say that you didn't want your mother to know that you talked to us, Ray?
Because when I asked her about it, she said for me not to tell anybody. Mom said that if I told anybody, they wouldn't believe me. They'd be mad at me. I sat here and thought about it, and if she didn't tell you, I thought maybe I should. Is that wrong, mister?
No, son, that's not wrong.
Hope it's all right. Is it, mister?
What's that, son?
Are you mad at me?
Before we left the house, the incident looked just like another natural or accidental death. However, with the boy's story, it seemed possible that it might be something more. 11:56 p.m. Under the pretext of getting additional information for our report, Frank and I went back into the house. We talked to Mrs. Prater for another hour. It was possible that the boy's story about the glass of milk was his imagination, but it had to be checked out. While we talked to her, we had to be careful not to let her know that we'd seen or talked to little Ray. We noticed that the dishes from the evening meal had been washed and put away. We commented about this, and Mrs. Prater said that she'd done the dishes to keep her mind occupied while she waited for us. Frank and I asked her about her husband's insurance policies, and she gave us the name of the company that had written them. We asked if she and her husband had quarreled much, and she told us that in 14 years of marriage, they hadn't had one serious argument. During the conversation, we gave her every opportunity to tell us about Mr. Prater's remark concerning the glass of milk. She didn't mention it. Until we received the results of the autopsy, Frank and I figured we'd better wait before questioning her further. 12:34 a.m. We got back to the office and signed out. The next morning, we put in a call to the insurance company to check on the husband's policies. The deputy coroner said we'd have the results of the autopsy by noon. Thursday, 11:20 a.m.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. All right, sir, thank you. Yeah, that's right, Smith, 2521. Thanks again, bye.
Anything?
The insurance company says when they wrote the policy on Prater, there was nothing wrong with his heart.
Yeah.
Good-sized policy, Joe.
Yeah.
$25,000 double indemnity in case of accidental death.
Who's the beneficiary?
His wife. The guy at the company told me that Mrs. Prater called last week, wanted to know the premium on a larger amount.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to her and said they'd like to send a salesman over to the house to talk to her and her husband. She said it wouldn't be necessary. She'd bring him down to the office. They haven't heard from her since.
$50,000. Sure good enough motive, isn't it?
Yeah. Funny about the kid, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Figuring what his father said about the milk might have meant something. Must have been a tough decision for the little guy to make, whether to tell us or keep quiet.
I get it. Homicide, Friday. Yeah, just a second. All right, go ahead. Well. Okay, thank you. Abernathy at the coroner's office just finished the autopsy.
Anything?
Yeah. Considerable amount of poison in the victim's stomach.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality. Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma. And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Yes, there's a good reason why Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos, the finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture, Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, sunny yellow pack. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So next time, insist on Fatima quality. Look for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Smoke Fatima, the extra mild and soothing king-size cigarette, with the added protection of Fatima quality.
The finding of the poison in the stomach of Alfred Prater had definitely ruled out natural or accidental death. There was still the possibility, however, that he'd taken his own life. The story given us by the Sun made this unlikely, but still within the realm of possibility. 1:15 p.m. Frank and I arrived at the Prater residence.
Yes? Oh, you're the officers who were here last night. Won't you come in?
Thank you, ma'am.
Something more that you wanted to know? I think I told you everything last night.
Well, something's come up, ma'am, that kind of changes things a little.
What's that?
Well, originally, ma'am, we thought your husband's death was natural or accidental.
You mean now you don't think so?
No, ma'am, he died of poison.
No, it can't be. There's a mistake somewhere.
No, afraid not, ma'am. Wonder if we could sit down. A few questions we're going to have to ask you.
Yes, of course. This is quite a shock, officers. I don't know what to think.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us what you had for dinner last night, what your husband ate?
He ate the same things all of us did, nothing different.
What was that, ma'am?
Green salad, macaroni and cheese, bread and butter, and a pudding for dessert.
And you all ate the same food, is that right?
Yes, what are you trying to say? Do you think that I poisoned Alfred?
We're not trying to say anything, Mrs. Prater. Your husband died of poison. We're trying to find out why.
Just a minute. Mother? Mother, can you come out here a minute? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Your husband have anything to drink with his dinner, ma'am?
Of course, water, then coffee after dinner. He always has a couple of cups of coffee after dinner.
Now, all he had with his dinner was water, is that right?
Yes, just water.
You ever drink anything else with his dinner? Milk, tea, maybe a glass of beer?
Oh, milk once in a while. Last night we only had enough for Ray, though. Just one glass. As for beer, Mother'd raised such a fuss, I don't think Alfred wanted to go through it. No, if he wanted beer, he drank it at the bar down the street.
Well, you're sure, though, that last night your husband only drank water with his meal, is that right?
Yes, I told you, just water. Why all this harping on milk? What are you trying to say? What are you getting at? Mother, are you coming out?
What's all the ruckus about? Can I even take a nap in peace?
These officers just told me that Alfred's death wasn't accidental, Mother.
Not accidental? Nonsense. The doctor said it was an accident. What more do you need? Got drunk and fell down, broke his head. Of course it was an accident.
I'm afraid not, Miss Atkins. Your son-in-law was poisoned.
Poisoned? How?
That's what we're trying to find out.
I seem to think that maybe I did it, Mother.
You? Why, that's ridiculous. Why would she do it?
Well, there was quite a bit of insurance, for one thing.
You've been nosing around, haven't you? So there was a little insurance. What does that prove?
It was more than a little, ma'am. $25,000 worth. Double indemnity clause makes it $50,000.
And that brings up another thing, Miss Prater.
Yes?
The insurance company says that you called them and wanted to raise the amount of the policy. Is that right?
Well, yes, I did call him, but Alfred told me to. Said he wanted to provide more for me and Ray.
Anyone hear your husband say that he wanted more insurance?
No, we're not in the habit of discussing our private business around other people.
Other people learn to keep their noses where they belong. The world would be a better place.
Miss Atkins, I wonder if you could tell us what you had for dinner last night.
But that is the limit. I just told you what we had. Isn't that enough? Come in here and you ask a lot of questions. Poor Alfred's not even buried, and you come in here and upset me.
We're awfully sorry, Mrs. Prater, but we have to find out. That's what we're paid for.
It's all right, Ellen. We've got nothing to hide. Answer their questions, and then maybe they'll leave us alone.
But I told them that we don't know anything about it. I told them.
All right, honey. Now, calm down. Now, dinner last night. What you wanted to know about?
Yes, ma'am. Just what you had to eat.
Macaroni and cheese. Little salad and some pudding Ellen made.
Nothing else?
Bread and butter.
How about something to drink?
Water. Good, clean water.
Ray drink water, too?
No, he had milk.
Mr. Prater drink milk?
I told you.
We'd like for your mother to tell us, too, ma'am, just to keep the record straight.
I think he might have had some milk to drink. I don't remember special.
No, he didn't, Mother. Remember when I poured the milk for Ray? I said there wasn't enough for anyone else. Just one glass for Ray. That's all there was. Don't you remember?
Well, no, I don't. But if you say it was that way, then I guess it was. You got no reason to lie. Ever occur to you officers that maybe Alfred took the poison himself? Ever think of that?
How's that, ma'am?
Well, didn't you tell him, Ellen? About how he used to moan around the house saying he couldn't stand it anymore?
What's this, ma'am? Your husband ever talk about taking his own life?
Yes, I didn't want to bring it up, but now I suppose I'll have to.
Yes.
Alfred was pretty depressed. He felt that he wasn't getting any place in his job. He felt that at his age he should be farther along. Times he'd get real low, say he wasn't going any place. I did my best to make him feel better. Guess it didn't do any good.
Well, did he ever say he was thinking of taking his own life?
Yes, several times. I laughed him out of it, and things would go on quiet for a while, and then something would happen that would set him off again.
Well, how is it that you didn't tell us about this before, ma'am?
Well, I didn't think it'd prove anything. No reason to drag skeletons out of the closet.
You satisfied now? You happy? Now you know about Alfred, maybe you'll leave us alone.
Is your son here, ma'am?
Yes, he's out in the yard playing. I'll call him if you have to talk to him.
I'd like to very much, ma'am.
All right, I'll get him.
Before you go, Miss Frater,
Yes?
do you keep any poison around the house?
Of course not. I'd be afraid that Ray might find it.
Nothing at all? Nothing for rats, gophers, anything like that?
No, never been bothered with rats or mice. There aren't any gophers around. No, Sergeant. There's no poison in the house.
Well, you wouldn't mind if we looked around, would you? Maybe your husband bought some and he didn't tell you about it.
No, go ahead and look. I know you won't find anything. Alfred and I had talked about keeping anything around that Ray might get into. I don't recall ever having bought any poison, and I'm pretty sure Alfred didn't.
Well, we'll take a look later, ma'am. It's all right. Now, if we could just talk to your son.
I'll get him. Ray? Ray, come in here. No, right now. You'll be right in, Mr. Friday. I hope you won't say anything to upset him.
Yeah, Mom? What do you want?
These men here'd like to talk to you, son. They're policemen.
What do they want to talk to me about? I haven't done anything.
We know that, Ray. Just have a couple questions for you.
This is Mr. Friday and Mr. Smith, my son Ray.
Hi. Pleased to meet you.
You bet. Wonder if you could tell us what you had for dinner last night, Ray?
Dinner?
Yes, son.
Well, Mom fixed macaroni and cheese. We had that.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, son?
A salad. I didn't like it. Then we had some pudding for dessert.
What'd you have to drink, Ray?
Milk.
What'd your father have? Ray?
I don't remember too well. You better ask Mom. She'll tell you.
I told you, Mr. Friday, only Ray had milk. His father drank water.
Ray?
That's right, Mr. Friday. Dad drank water. Nothing else.
It was apparent that Mrs. Prater didn't know Ray had talked to us the night before, and we were reluctant to involve the boy any more than was necessary. We searched the house and the garage, but we found nothing that could have been used to poison the husband. We obtained samples of Ellen Prater's and Mrs. Atkins' handwriting. We canvassed the drugstores in the immediate area. None of the druggists we talked to could remember selling poison to a woman answering either description. We contacted the office, and Sergeants Gill and Cenas and Danny Galindo were dispatched to the neighborhood where the Praters had lived previously. They were to canvass the drugstores and at the same time talk to the neighbors. In talking to the people in the area around the house, we found that the Praters were the subject of constant gossip. We heard tales of violent arguments between the victim and his wife. Several of the quarrels had resulted in the neighbors calling the police to quiet them. Around the neighborhood, we found out that Mrs. Prater had a violent temper and had had several arguments with her husband in the corner bar. According to the bartender, she accused him of running around. He went on to tell us that as far as he knew, nothing was further from the truth. That Alfred Prater loved his home and his son, and that he took to drinking as an excuse to get away from his wife's nagging. 5:20 p.m. Frank and I checked into the office.
Rough day.
Yeah, a lot of legwork.
Not that so much. Just hoping Cenas and Galindo did better than us.
Well, we didn't do too bad. We pretty much proved that what she said about the happy home life wasn't true.
I suppose. Without being able to show they were in possession of the poison, we aren't going to be able to prove much. I got it, Joe.
Yeah.
Homicide, Smith. Yeah, Gil. Mm-hmm. How about that? Yeah, ask him to, huh? Okay. Said what? Yeah, I got it. Right. See you then.
And Cenas?
Yeah, they found the place she bought the poison. Druggist out there remembered her from the description, checked the book, used the name Eileen Peters. Funny thing, though.
Yeah.
When the druggist asked her the address, she gave him the real one. You know, the house they lived in previously.
She said what she wanted the poison for?
Yeah, Gil said the book read to destroy pests.
On the way out to pick up Mrs. Prater, Frank and I outlined the plan for identification. In the event the druggist was unable to give a positive identification, we thought it better if the suspect didn't know she was being observed. This would forestall any embarrassment to the druggist. We arrived at the Prater home and took the suspect into custody. She said that she couldn't understand why we were arresting her, but that she'd be more than happy to go with us to get the thing straightened out. 6:40 p.m. Frank and I talked with Ms. Prater in the interrogation room.
Alfred and I got along perfectly, never a misunderstanding.
Oh, your neighbors don't bear that out, Miss Prater.
What?
They said that you two used to fight all the time. Had to call the police a couple of times.
They're busybodies, Mr. Friday, busybodies. They were jealous because Alfred and I were so happy. Once in a while we had a little fuss, but nothing worth mentioning.
How about the police being called, ma'am?
Well, they might have come by when we were playing the radio a little loud, having a party, something like that, but never an argument.
And you said your husband didn't drink any milk the night he died, is that right?
That's right, I did.
Your boy Ray seems to disagree with that. He said that his father did drink some milk, commented on the fact that it tasted bitter.
The little sneak, he's lying, of course, you know that. Wait a minute, you talked to him. He said that his father drank water, like I said. What are you trying to do, cause trouble between me and my son?
No, ma'am.
I should hope not. Poor little kid, father dead, and you're trying to say that I did it, that I killed Ray's father. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
A little warm in here. You want to open the door for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. That's better. Not too cold on you, is it, Miss Prater?
No.
Miss Prater, did you ever buy any poison for any purpose?
You asked me that before. I told you no then. The answer's the same now.
You're sure that you never bought any poison of any type?
Absolutely.
You ever do any business with a Mr. McLean in your old neighborhood?
McLean? Don't recall the name.
He's a druggist.
No. No, I always bought from Mr. Swenson, little drugstore in the corner near the house.
Excuse me a minute, will you please? I want to check something down the hall.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Listen, maybe you haven't got anything else to do, but I have. So if you'll get this foolishness over with, I'd like to go home.
Well, we're almost finished, Miss Prater. Just a couple more things.
Well, get 'em over with.
Same one, Joe. He's positive.
Mm-hmm. Miss Prater?
Yes?
Maybe if we lay this thing out for you, it'd be a little better.
Anything to get it over with. I want to go home. I got to get dinner for Ray and Mother.
All right. In the first place, you told us that you and your husband were happy. The neighbors tell us that you fought all the time. The bartender says you used to come in and raise the roof with your husband. You claim he was going out with other women. So the part about you and your husband being happy is a lie, isn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you said your husband didn't drink any milk for dinner the night he died. Your son says he did.
What's all this about milk, anyway? What's that got to do with it?
Well, according to what your son said, it looks like that's what your husband got the poison in, doesn't it?
Where would I get poison? I didn't buy any. I told you that. You searched the house and the garage. You didn't find any.
We've got the man who sold it to you, Mrs. Prater. He just gave a positive identification.
And Don Meyer, our handwriting man, checked the samples of your handwriting with a signature in the druggist's buy book. They're the same.
He might have wanted to collect on that insurance policy.
Any way you look at it, Miss Prater, the facts point out that you killed your husband.
No, why not admit it?
I didn't want to kill him. I only wanted to make him sick. Just sick, that's all. So I'd stop drinking, stay home a little bit. I didn't want to kill him. Didn't mean it. I didn't want the money. I just wanted him home with me.
That's enough. Frank, you want to call the stenographer?
Yeah, Joe.
You can understand it, can't you, Mr. Friday?
Ma'am?
You can understand it? I thought he was running around. I wanted him home with me and Ray and Mother. A nice little home for Ray. That's all I wanted. Is that wrong? Something nice for Ray. Is that wrong?
Oh, I don't know.
What?
What's he got now?
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 13th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, you know best of anyone what you're looking for in a king-size cigarette. So here's all I ask you to do. Try Fatima's and then make up your own mind. If you're looking for an extra mild and soothing smoke and a really different flavor and aroma, then Fatima is the king-size cigarette for you. Ask for Fatima in the bright sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Ellen Adelaide Prater was tried and found guilty of murder in the first degree. She was sentenced to life imprisonment and is now serving her term in the state penitentiary for women. Further investigation proved that the mother-in-law, Mrs. Ruth Atkins, was unaware of the intention of her daughter to kill her husband. She was not connected in any way with the death of Alfred Prater. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, June Whitley, Sammy Ogg, Virginia Gregg. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King-size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
About the world it goes around in. It's about the big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20s. So when they ask you, Tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The whiskey matches the color of your money. It's a fairly quiet crib, never any real serious trouble. The competing torpedoes in town regard it as a sort of a neutral zone, a place to meet and maybe talk things over before going to the gun. The Switzerland of Kansas City. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who has only two things in his life, dollars and cents. We start grinding every night at about 10, and we play till the cash register tape gives out. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like and pays off with a smile. Sometimes we even manage to get a few bucks. Well, last night we were dragging through the lull hour of the first set when the distinguished old guy came in. I'd seen him in the place many times before, always with the Dutchman and two or three of the Dutchman's guns. He'd sit at their table, letting their whispers float around his gray hair, never taking part, just sit quiet, gaining slowly on the open bottle in front of him, staring at a point that probably didn't exist. This was the first time I'd seen him without the Dutchman. He started to sit at the usual place, hesitated, looked around the half-filled room, took the small table in the corner near the bar. He smiled up at me as he poured his first drink. There was nobody behind it. We went into the wind-up.
Man, we sure drag heel tonight. What's up next, Pete?
Nothing. My lip's raw. Let's get off for a while.
You're burning that lip at both ends, Petey. Slow down.
You want a beer at the bar, Red?
No, thanks, Petey. I'll catch me a hunk of fresh air in the alley.
All right. On your way out, throw some nickels in the pianola, will you?
Right. See you later.
Yeah.
Kelly?
Yeah?
Forgive me, I spoke quite on impulse. I find myself the sudden victim of an overwhelming desire for companionship.
Yeah. I see you're alone tonight.
I'm alone every night. Please sit down, if only for a minute.
All right.
Thank you. What will you drink?
A little of that ginger ale will do fine. You expecting your friends?
That's the one thing I can count on tonight, the arrival of my friends. I should like to compliment you, Mr. Kelly.
On what?
Your music. I must confess I don't really understand it, but I do understand and recognize one thing, faith. You play your cornet as though you believe in it.
Thanks.
That is a priceless thing, Mr. Kelly. Faith and a belief in something. Never lose it, sir. Because when you do, you're lost yourself.
Yeah. Well,
No, please. Just sit another small minute.
All right.
I lied to you, Mr. Kelly. I told you I wanted companionship. No. What I really want is an audience. There are so many things I want to say and so little time left in which to say.
Sounds like you're about to get married. Have another drink, huh?
You think I'm drunk, don't you? Well, you're right, I am. But not on whiskey.
Yeah. You're scared, aren't you? Is that it?
Yeah. Feel my heart. Expending enough energy to power a modest side jam.
What are you afraid of?
All evening I've been asking myself that same question. What am I afraid of? Surely it can't be the loss of life. And yet...
You sick?
With a disease for which neither man nor magician has yet been able to effect a cure. The wrath of a killer.
You're a target. Is that it?
I, as you so graphically put it, am a target.
The Dutchman?
The Dutchman.
Look, I don't make this. Right now, you should be 2 yards the other side of Baffin Bay.
Streets are lined with the Dutchman's gun.
But you gotta make a pass at it. You can't just say, okay, here's my head with a 50-cent cigar in it. Don't you want to live?
I thought not. My adrenals refuse to concur.
Look, isn't there somebody to help get you out of town? A friend?
I have no friend.
Except to touch me. The law? Yeah. Now, look, I gotta get back up there. Take this key. Hotel George, around the corner. Go up to my room. There's no reason for him to look for you up there. We'll think of something.
Do you think so? Do you really think so?
Now, look, we're gonna try. If we can't, we'll need 2 50-cent cigars. Now, go on.
P?
Yeah, Red.
What's the matter with the senator?
Nothing 1,000 miles won't cure. All right. Let's do goose pimples. All right, everybody ready? I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. Red, take over. I'm going to duck out for a while.
What's wrong, Petey?
My lip. It's starting to limp.
Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Mr. Kelly? Which Mr. Kelly?
How many Mr. Kellys you got in this crib?
Never mind, Jamie. I'm ready.
You asked the punk nice, is he, Mr. Kelly, so he gives you with a snotty which Mr. Kelly?
All right, Jamie. Please forgive Jamie. He hasn't had much sleep lately. Yeah, well, you wake him up and tell him there's another Kelly. Bob Kelly works downstairs in the plant. Maybe he's the boy you want.
No, we're looking for Pete Kelly.
Yeah?
Yes, Pete Kelly.
Oh, not Bob Kelly.
Not Bob Kelly, Pete Kelly.
Yeah. Well, I'm Pete Kelly.
I'm Pete Kelly.
We'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure.
Outside?
Outside?
Just in the alley. Private.
Yeah, well, I'd like to oblige you, but you see, friend, I got a job to do here.
Outside.
All right, Jamie. Mr. Kelly understands.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Red.
Yeah.
Smoke, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. You like my brand?
Your brand?
Gold Tip, you like it?
Yeah, sure. I never smoke anything else.
There was an elderly gentleman inside this evening. He also smokes them. Did you smoke one of his?
Elderly gentleman?
Yes, about 55, my height, gray hair, blue eyes. He sat at your table. He had a nice drink with him. You smoked a cigarette of his.
Sorry, I haven't seen anybody all night.
All right, Terry, let's get to it. Stop with the circle talk.
Easy.
We got the rumble you was talking to.
Well, you're wrong.
Were you?
All right.
Go on me.
That's enough. Yeah, all right. Now, you listen, Junior. The next time you put your hands on me, you walk away without them.
You deserve that, Jamie. You have to learn when to and when not to.
Jamie's young, Mr. Kelly. He thinks he has to make his reputation in one night.
Can he be friendly? Can he be nice? Can he be honest? Why can't he tell us the truth and let us go about our business?
That's fair enough. Isn't that fair enough, Mr. Kelly? Isn't Jamie right this time?
Yeah, sure.
Seems to me he's being fair. Seems to me he's right this time.
I'm always fair. I just ask for cooperation.
That's it. That's all. That's all we ask. Just cooperation. And, mister, you're going to cooperate. Army surplus, mister. This gun's been to France and back.
What do you want?
Small hunk of truth. You sat and talked to this gentleman?
You see? He ain't going to cooperate.
Yeah, I talked to him. What about?
This and that.
What's this and what's that?
Music.
What else?
Horses.
What else?
Women.
What else?
That's all.
You're lying.
Terry says you're lying. He knows it's his business to know.
Music, yes. Horses and women, no, not him. You're lying.
He was drunk.
How drunk?
Drunk enough to talk about horses and women?
What's his name?
He didn't say.
Where's he now?
I don't know.
You saw him go?
I left him at the table.
All right.
That's it, Terry?
For now. Mr. Kelly says he doesn't know where he is. Maybe he's telling the truth.
You got it all.
But if you're lying, Jamie's going to come back and see you alone.
Well, I didn't need Einstein to figure it out for me. They were a couple of the Dutchman's guns. Assignment, rub out of one old party. Method, burn down anybody in the way. And from here on in, they'd cuddle closer to me than a baby kangaroo to its mother. Well, I had to get that old party out of my room, fast. I told Red to keep the boys working, and I went on the prowl for Barney Ricketts. Barney's an ex-bootlegger. He went broke in 1922. Nobody's been able to figure out how a bootlegger could go broke in 1922, and Barney refuses to tell the secret of his failure. He did it the hard way, and he isn't going to make it easy for anybody else. He wasn't at Sour Sammy's joint. He hadn't shown at Papa Pastor's, and I was starting to worry when I caught up with him at Joe Donegan's over on 12th Street. As usual, he was boiled and loud.
Ah, Pete Kelly, the Kansas City Gabriel.
Listen, Barney, I need a favor.
Without evasion, Petey, I tell you right out that your arrival is ill-timed.
A major league favor.
I was just about to pour a potion, and now I'm forced to ask you to share it with me.
No, Barney, look, there's no time.
That's your trouble, Petey. No true understanding of the meaning of time. Do you know what time in the life of one man really is? I mean the nature of it and its function.
Yeah, I know all about it. Now, listen, Barney.
Of course you don't, and it isn't many men who will so frankly confess their ignorance. That's what I admire most about you, Petey. Your honesty in admitting to your abundant ignorance.
All right, Barney.
No, you mustn't be disheartened. The very fact that you know that you don't know is a hopeful sign. It means that you are ready to learn, and I will be your guide, counselor, and teacher.
Yeah.
Now then, take time.
All right.
And to properly understand the true nature of time, you must take time to understand it. Regard time as a valise. To each man at birth, such a valise is given, some large, some small, according to his destiny. That is the one thing which he cannot really choose, the size of the valise which we call time.
You all through now?
Yes, what are we going to put into your valise this time?
Maybe a hunk of hope for a guy who needs it.
What's his problem?
He was sitting in 417. I talked to him.
A mobster?
No, educated, cultured, gentle.
I see. A dangerous man.
No, he was lost, Barney. Lost and frightened. The kind of fright that freezes you when you're on the other side of a gun.
I see. Who fingered him?
The Dutchman.
The Dutchman?
That's right.
Tell me, is he about 55, gray hair, blue eyes?
That's right.
And you don't know who he is?
No, he didn't say.
Well, Peter, you're right and you're wrong. He's educated, cultured, gentle. But you're wrong about helping him. Nothing you or anyone else can do can stretch his valise.
Why not?
Because the Dutchman says no, that's all.
Well, who is he?
Dr. Jonathan Budd, an excellent surgeon and general practitioner.
But what's he got to do with the Dutchman?
For the last 2 years, he's been under exclusive contract to the Dutchman, sort of company medic for the Dutchman's torpedoes. On call 24 hours a day. Remove an appendix or a bullet as the circumstances may require.
I don't make it, Barney. A man like that. Why would the Dutchman want to send him over?
I don't know, Petey, and I don't want to know. Go back to Lupo's, pick up your horn, and forget all about Dr. Budd.
I can't do it.
Heed me, Petey. The Dutchman says drop dead, he'll drop dead. Don't be near him when he falls. Don't get into this, Petey.
I'm already in, Barney. I sent him up to my room.
You didn't.
He's there now, waiting for me.
Get him out of there.
I had to help him, Barney. You can't just stand by and send him into the street to be cut down. A man has to have somebody to worry about him, somebody to help him.
Get him out of there.
I can't.
Why not?
I'm being watched.
By the gun?
Yeah.
You sure?
They got the buzz I was sitting with him. They're keeping a string on me.
Petey, you fool. How long do you think it'll be before they get into your room?
That's why I came to you, Barney.
No, Pete, not this time. Not where the Dutch...
Look, they're on my back, Barney. I'll draw the guns off. Back to Lupo's. You get him out, Barney. You can do it.
And what do I do with him once I got him? Ask him what he'll charge to cut you out of my life?
Take him to the other side of the river, over to Fat Annie's. Tell Maggie Jackson. She can fold him into the shed out back. He'll be safe there.
Fine. He can make a new life for himself in Fat Annie's shed.
I'll think of something. I'll shake the guns after I get back to 417, and I'll think of something.
You do that, Petey, because if you don't, you'll be dragging a full release before morning.
Well, I scuttled back through the streets, back to 417 Cherry. The guns were right behind me. My valise was getting fuller and heavier by the minute, and I knew I'd added a few pounds to Barney's. But that's the way it is. The guy drifts into your life, holds out a finger for help, and you take hold, and you're near to drifting out of it with him. But what can you do? You gotta take hold, or you don't sleep so good anymore. Well, Lupo glared at me with his "what am I paying you for" glare as I ducked into the joint. I started for the bandstand, and I didn't get past the bar.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you.
Yeah?
Could I talk to you?
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
Someplace alone?
What about?
It's about my name's Mary Budd.
Oh, come on, behind the bandstand.
Thank you.
Let's go, Petey. Lupo's just docked us another thing.
I'll be right with you, Red.
Yeah.
All right.
I was told you saw
Saw who?
my father,
Lots of fathers come in here. Who's yours?
Dr. Budd. Dr. Jonathan Budd.
You drive a car?
Yes.
Your license with you?
Yes.
Let me see it. Thanks. All right. Now pay attention. Your father's in trouble. The big trouble.
Why? What's happened?
The Dutchman took a dislike to him.
Who's the Dutchman?
You don't know?
My father never told me anything.
Well, you're a big girl now. The Dutchman's a man with a gun. He's pointing it at your father. All right, now hold on. Maybe we can...
Why would anybody want to kill my father?
I don't know.
He's never hurt anybody in his life. Why would this man...
Look, lady, I got no answers for
Maybe
you.
if we could find out why... Maybe we could... Are you sure you have no idea?
All I know is the Dutchman said drop dead. There's no court of appeals for that.
Yes. I understand now.
But we still got a chance. It's skinny, but it's there.
Where's my father now?
He's being taken across the river. Fat Annie's place. Boulder Road. Is your car out front?
No, I live downtown.
Good. Go get it. Make sure you're not tailed. Go to Fat Annie's. See Maggie Jackson. I'll try to shake the Dutchman's guns after the next number. But if I can't get over to Fat Annie's, you collect your father out of that shed and back, hit the highway north on the Kansas side. Now, you got it?
I'll never forget you for this, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's settle down. Settle down, huh? What's up?
Newlyweds in from St. Joe been asking for a cornet solo for an hour.
All right, what do you think?
Well, how about Pigeon-Toed Jode?
Oh, my lip and you asked for that? All right.
All right, Pigeon-Toed Jode. You got it?
All right. I'll give you the pickup. Well, that's all for me tonight, Red.
Let me see that.
Huh?
Yeah, you ain't fooling. Your lips bleeding.
We'll do the next set without me, huh?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's sure making the deducts tonight.
Where's the Erskine Park, Red?
Around on 10th Street. You better put the top up. Looks like rain.
Yeah, all right.
How long you gonna be gone?
Huh?
I said, how long you gonna be gone?
Depends on how much room is left in my valise. Now, I left the stand and headed for the men's room just like nothing was happening. I bolted the door behind me, crawled out through the small window, dropped into the alley, and lit out for 10th Street over fences and through backyards. Red's Erskine was right where it ought to be. I slammed over to 12th, rattled across the bridge, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Halfway there, it started to rain. Inside Fat Annie's, business was slow. There was nobody there. Maggie Jackson was making for a piano when I got inside.
Hi, Pete. I'm glad you got here. We got a tenant in shed out back.
Yeah?
Yeah, with a short-term lease. Just a minute, Pete. All right, Ray. I ain't going nowhere, ain't seeing no one, no how, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. I'm on good behavior, so honey savior, hello. In answer to your passes, the laughter's no. I've been somewhere, seeing someone most every day of my sad life. I'm gonna trade in my mad life for something slow and safe, and so I ain't going nowhere, ain't gonna wrinkle my brow, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. That was nice, Ray. Place is really dead tonight.
Yeah, business is bad all over. Look, Maggie, how about the guy in the shed? Is he all right?
He ain't bleeding none yet.
Where's Barney?
He just dropped the package like it was hot chitlins and dusted.
The girl get here yet?
What girl's that?
The tenant's daughter.
No girl showed yet, Pete.
Well, the minute she shows, Maggie, send her outside, will you?
You going to the shed, Pete?
Yeah.
Best to go through the kitchen, straight out the back.
Sure. Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck.
Doc, it's Kelly. Pete Kelly, Doc.
Come in.
You all right, Doc?
Yes. The roof leaks and I've run out of cigarettes.
Sure. Here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give you a light.
That's good.
Yeah, now, look, I think we're home safe. I'm getting you out of here.
Tell me, why do you bother?
What?
I said, why do you bother?
Look, Doc, don't confuse me.
You're an anachronism, Mr. Kelly. A moral man in the immoral jungle.
Now, look, I talked to your daughter. She'll be here soon.
You talked to my daughter?
Yeah, that's right. She's coming to pick you up.
Small girl, red hair, blue eyes?
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly, I have no daughter.
You don't?
You talked to the Dutchman Smile.
Yeah, but the license, her driving license. She showed me her driving license.
Sure she did.
I believed her.
Yes, an excellent actress. And you told her where I am. Did she ask you anything else? What you might know about the Dutchman and me?
Well, she asked. I knew nothing.
You're sure? You're sure you told her you know absolutely nothing?
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're safe. You'll be all right. They'll forgive you for trying to help me. You finally did tell them where to find me, and for that, they forgive you.
All right, come on. Now, let's get out of here. Let's get
going.
going.
No, Mr. Kelly, you'd better go quickly.
Well, I got a car. We'll make a run for it.
No.
But they'll be here any minute.
And I'll be waiting for them. No use to run anymore.
Yeah.
In some strange way, I've begun to realize that I'll welcome their arrival. But I don't want to escape. You see, it's impossible for a man to escape from himself. I am nothing more than the works I have done. It is those works which decide the ultimate fate of a man. Mine, and rightly so, are about to kill me. No, we cannot escape from what we have made of ourselves.
Yeah, but look, you can start all over again. There have been others like this before. They ran, took the chance, and ran.
Strange. Things taught me in my youth. Things unremembered for years. My freshman days at school. and the words of Socrates when Crito urged him to delay the drinking of the hemlock as others before him had delayed. Yes, Crito, and they of whom you speak are right in so acting, for they think that they will be gainers by the delay. But I am right in not following their example, for I do not think that I should gain anything by drinking the poison a little later. I should only be ridiculous in my own eyes for sparing and saving a life which is already forfeit. Please, then, to do as I say, and not to refuse me. And so, I ask you, Mr. Kelly, don't refuse me. Go now, please, for your sake. I'm all right.
You're not all right. They're going to kill you. Don't you understand that?
I understand.
Yeah. Sure you do. There's nothing more I can do?
Nothing. Except perhaps a cigarette.
Sure. Take the pack.
No. Two will do.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Kelly.
Goodbye, Doc.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Please leave the door open.
Yeah.
Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph record.
The proceeding was transcribed. Now join the great Gildersleeve on NBC.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. In a year's time, a burglar has taken approximately $80,000 in money and jewelry. None of his victims can describe him. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. It was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary. That you, Joe? Yeah. How about that fight last night, huh? Did you see it on Channel 4?
No, I started to watch it. The set went on. Picture tube? I don't know, Joe. Picture got all fuzzy and started to wobble. You know, like when an airplane goes over between the set and the train.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The set's been acting up lately. I thought there might be something wrong with the aerial, so I figured I'd take a look at it. Got the ladder out, got up on the roof. Sure enough, one of the wires on the thing was off. Just hanging by a little bit of the rubber coating. Climbed back down to get the wire cutters to fix it. Couldn't find them. Had to use scissors to strip the insulation off the wire. Got the wire all fixed to put back on, then I couldn't find the pliers to get the nut off the aerial. Looked all through the house, no so.
What'd you do?
Nothing I could do. Try to get the nut off with the scissors. Broke them. Finally went back into the house to listen to the radio. Fight was over.
Yeah, I only went 4 rounds.
Yeah, I found that out. Got the radio on just when the announcer was giving the last commercial. And Faye and me had a talk.
And then again.
Yeah, I told her I was going to buy a whole new set of tools. The first time I saw the kids with one of them, I was going to raise the roof.
Must have made her happy.
Yeah, it did. Made some remark about them only being kids. Said if I wanted to keep the tools out of their hands, I should put them in a place where they can't reach them. There's only one trouble, Joe.
What's that?
With Mike and Stacy, there isn't such a place.
Figure I know what you mean. It's sure a good fight, though. It's too bad you missed it.
Yeah.
Right in, Smith? Yeah, Skipper.
Right here, will you?
Thanks. Skipper, what's up?
Sit down. Just got a call from the Wilshire Division. That string of burglaries I've had out there.
Mm-hmm.
They can't spare the men to give this thing the time it looks like it's going to take to turn it.
Yeah.
So I'm putting you two on it. And here's all the crime reports on it.
Looks like you've been busy. A lot of reports here.
What's he picking? Money and jewelry.
Mm-hmm. Use a celluloid strip to get into the houses. Not much unusual about that. No. According to the reports, he's been hitting around 3:30 to 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah, he evidently rings the bell first to see if there's anybody in the house. And then if there isn't, he uses celluloid to open the door. Goes through the house and then leaves by the back door.
What's this bit here about the glass of milk?
Well, that's the one part of his M.O. that's new. It seems every place he goes into, he has a glass of milk before he leaves.
Any prints on the glass?
I haven't found any yet. Seems to wipe the glass clean before he leaves.
Stats office come up with anything on the M.O.?
Nothing hasn't been checked out. The leads they gave us didn't go anyplace.
How about the victims? Any of them ever see the guy?
No, not good. A couple of them have caught glimpses of him leaving the house. Didn't realize at the time that he'd just come from their place.
How about a description?
Everybody that's seen him tells a different story. Some have him tall and thin, others have him short and husky. Some have him dark, others light. Anybody's guess.
Oh, that makes it easy, huh? You been working any one area, Skipper?
Yeah, according to those reports, he works around in here. Here. From Wilshire to Pico on the south, La Brea to Robertson on the west.
A lot of areas, Skipper.
Yeah.
How about help?
Much as you need. Metro will give you as many men as they can spare. Said you could probably count on 10 teams.
Well, we should be able to patrol the area pretty well with them. Be it more than one place a day?
Yeah. Sometimes 3 or 4. Depends on how much time it takes them to go through a place.
And he never works later than 6 o'clock?
No, not that we know.
It's pretty smart. More people on the streets that time of day, less likely to be noticed.
That's probably the way he figures it.
I still don't think I get this milk thing here.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Do you have it every place he goes?
Seems to. The owner comes home and finds all the money and jewelry in the place gone and an empty glass on the table in the living room.
Living room?
Yeah. In the living room. Evidently pours the milk right after he gets into the house and carries it around with him while he works. Finishes it up before he leaves. Boys from Wilshire found those rings, you know, when you put a glass down on the table.
Yeah, I know.
Found them all over the house.
They haven't found any prints at all, huh?
No, Leighton Prince has gone over the places completely. Everything they found has a right to be there. Belongs to family or friends.
$80,000. How about the pawn shop detail? They turn up anything?
No, nothing. None of the jewelry's turned up as far as we can tell.
Looks like a gem, huh?
It is. It's all yours.
All right. We'll get started on it right away.
You two stay on this until you clean it up.
Right, Skipper.
Any ideas where you're going to start?
Well, only one place, the neighborhood where he works.
Yeah?
We don't know him. Maybe he'll come to us. Frank and I went over the reports. In general, the operation was the usual type. Use of a celluloid strip to enter a house wasn't new. The suspect operated during those times when detection was least likely. He never operated in the rain. All in all, with the exception of the milk drinking, the case could have been 100 others. Frank and I spent the rest of the afternoon talking to the victims who had seen the burglar. They were all sure that the man they'd seen was the one we wanted, but their description varied from each other. All the victims had been shown mug books, but failed to identify the suspect. We called Metro Division and asked them to give us as many radio units as possible to cover the area. They assigned 10 cars to the detail. Frank and I covered the entire area in our car. Wednesday, September 5th. 2 months had passed, during which time the burglar hit only 2 houses. In spite of the heavy patrol action in the area, he got away safely in both instances. 5:45 p.m. Looks like another day shot, huh? Yeah, another 15 minutes to go. Well, one thing anyway, he's calmed down, Joe. He's going to make 100,000 this year. Wait a minute, right? Yeah? Up ahead there on the left. White House? Yeah, I can see him. Pull over here. We'll walk down. Right. Come on, you can get on my side. All right. Still working? Yeah, probably a double lock on that door, huh? Celluloid won't work there. Having a little trouble, mister?
Huh?
Looks like you're having a little trouble getting that door open.
Oh, yeah, I lost the key. You police officers?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, happy to know you're on the job, protecting my house and all. Sure appreciate it.
Wonder if we can see your identification.
I beg your pardon?
Your identification? Wonder if we can see it.
Well, what's the matter? Don't you believe me that I live in this house?
We just like to see your ID. Nothing wrong with you showing it to us, is there?
Oh, of course not. Gee, looks like I left my wallet in the house.
What's that gadget you were trying to get into the house with there?
Oh, this? A piece of celluloid. I read about it someplace. I happen to have it.
Mm-hmm. Turn around, will you, toward the street?
Yeah, sure. What do you want?
What's the address of the house you live in?
The address?
Yes, sir.
You guys still don't believe I live here, do you?
The address, what is it?
1200 block in Allendale.
What's your name?
Anderson. Jack Anderson.
Maybe you can explain why the name of the mailbox is Radcliffe, huh?
Well, yeah, sure I can explain. You see, I'm just visiting here. Summer vacation, just out here a couple of weeks.
All right, mister, stand still.
Hey, wait, and what's going on? You got no right to...
Stand still. How about this wallet? Is it yours?
Yeah. Oh, come on, give it back.
Let's take a look here. You said your name was Anderson, is that right?
Well, yeah, but I can explain that.
Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be a little involved, though.
Well, what's wrong?
Two things. Wrong house and wrong identification. Frank and I took the suspect back to the city hall for interrogation. Although he gave us the name Jack Anderson, all his identification bore the name Robert Red Neal. We ran the name through R&I. Neal had several previous arrests on burglary charges. According to the record, there were no wants on him at the time. 6:20 p.m. Frank and I questioned Neal.
All right, Neil, come on off it. Okay, so you know I don't live in the house. It looks like one I do live in. I just made a mistake, that's all. They build all these houses out here so they look alike.
Now, look, Neil, don't ask us to believe that one.
I'm not asking you to believe anything but the truth, and I'm telling you that.
Sure. Now, what about your record?
Well, what about it?
A lot of burglary charges.
All right, I did a little time. Now, what's that prove? I'm going straight now.
You still can't come up with a story to tell why you were trying to get into that house.
I told you, I thought it belonged to a friend of mine.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
You like milk, Neil?
Huh?
You like milk?
Look, I don't get this. What are you trying to prove?
Just answer the question. Do you like milk?
I can take it or leave it alone. I'm a big boy now. Sometimes I drink coffee.
How long have you been in town, Neil?
Couple of weeks. Why?
Where were you before you got here?
Up north.
Where up north?
Down Sacramento.
What'd you do up there?
A few odd jobs. Look, if you guys are going to book me, then do it. Let's get this yak over.
A couple of things we want to settle first, Neil.
What?
How long were you up north?
I guess it's been about 6-7 months.
7 months. You got any way of proving that?
Look, why should I have to prove anything? You guys figure you got a rap you can stick me with? Okay, try it. Book me in.
Look, don't press, Neil. Can you prove you're up north for the last 7 months?
Yeah, it shouldn't be any trouble at all.
Who do we talk to?
The sheriff up there, he had me in the can.
After waiting for 2 months, the one suspect we were able to turn had an alibi that we couldn't shake. Frank and I went back to rolling stakeout. The burglaries continued. Evidently, the burglar was getting more and more reckless. The police cars in the area were acting as less of a deterrent to his activities. In 2 weeks, he looted 16 homes. A week of bad weather brought his operation to a standstill, but as soon as the rain cleared, he went back to work. Tuesday, October 9th, we got a call from an elderly woman who said that she had information regarding the burglaries. Frank and I drove over to talk to her.
Won't you sit down, officers?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, Miss Blair, you said on the phone that you had something to tell us about the burglaries.
Yes, I have. Would you like a little something to eat? Sandwich, coffee? I just took some cookies out of the oven. Maybe you'd like some of those and a glass of milk.
No, ma'am. Thanks, just the same. Now, you just tell us what you know, please.
Well, I feel a little silly about it, officer. At first, I didn't think I'd say anything about it, but then I got to thinking. I figured it might be better if I did tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's about the burglaries, you know.
Yes, ma'am. That's what you said on the phone.
Phone? Oh, yes. You mean when I called you?
Yes, I'd like. Now, if you'd please tell us what it is that you have here.
Of course. I guess I'm just being a coward about it, not telling you right out, but when you hear the whole story, you'll understand.
Yes, ma'am.
You see, I went out to the store yesterday afternoon and had a sale on frozen foods down at the supermarket. Wonderful bargains. Fruit juice at 12 cents a can. Prices on vegetables where you just wouldn't believe it.
We understand that, ma'am. Now, how about the burglaries?
Oh, yes. Well, I went to the market about 2:30. That's when I left the house. Normally, I meet my husband after work and he brings me home. Only yesterday he didn't. He had some work to do at his office. He's in real estate.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yesterday he didn't bring me home. I caught a ride with that nice Mrs. Coddington. Lived 2 doors down. She brought me home yesterday. I got here about 3:45. Remember looking at the mantel clock when I came in? That one there.
Yes, ma'am.
Clock is always kept perfect time. Wedding present. Lovely thing.
Yes, ma'am. It's very nice.
Isn't it so? The gold work on the face.
Ma'am, we don't like to be rude, but if you just tell us what you know about the burglaries.
Well, certainly. You see, I came into the house, and there he was.
Ma'am?
The burglar. There he was in the hall, drinking a glass of milk. Such a nice-looking boy. Just stood there for a minute drinking the milk.
Well, what'd he do when he saw you?
He put the milk down on the telephone table, and then he started to run to the back door. I told him to stop.
Did he?
Not at first. Then I told him that my husband was out in back, out in the garage. He stopped then.
Go on, ma'am.
I asked him what he was doing in my house.
What'd he say?
Well, nothing, really. He just stammered around, said that maybe he'd made a mistake. I told him what I guess he had, breaking into somebody's house. Just terrible, officer. Like to scared the wits out of me.
Yes, ma'am.
I started to tell him how he should be ashamed of himself for stealing from other people. I really told him. I said, you know, we haven't got that much that we can have people like you come in here and steal. Then I picked up the phone and started to call the police. That's when he started to cry.
He started to cry?
Yes, just like a little boy. Put his hands up to his face and the tears just streamed down his cheeks.
What happened then, Mrs. Blair?
Well, when I saw him cry, he looked so small, like such a little boy, that I went over to him and comforted him.
You didn't get in touch with the police, man?
Well, no. Oh, I suppose I should have, but I didn't. When I got the boy calmed down, he told me that he didn't know what he'd do if his family found out about it. He told me about his mother and how she died when he was just a baby and how his sister raised him. He said she was just a couple of years older than him. I asked about his father, and he said that his father was a drunk, that he had to bring in what money the family needed. Said that his sister was sick, bad heart, and that the shock of his being arrested to kill her. Well, now, I asked the officers, what could I do?
Well, what did you do, Miss Blair?
I told him to sit down. I wanted to talk to him. We went out in the kitchen, and I asked him if he was hungry. You know, growing boy and all. I thought he might like a sandwich or something.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he didn't want anything to eat, but he said he would like a glass of milk, so I poured him one.
You said that you'd talked with him?
Yes, I thought that maybe I could talk him out of continuing this way, stealing. I asked him if he had a job, something to earn an honest living.
Yes, ma'am.
He told me that he'd tried to find work after school, but anything he'd get just didn't pay him enough. He tried to get along on the money, but it just wasn't enough. Medicine for his sister and all. Then there was his father, horrible man.
Well, what did he say about his father?
Oh, he told me all about him, how he drinks and causes trouble, spends what little money they have on liquor.
This boy tell you his name, ma'am?
Not at first. He said he didn't want me to turn him in. I told him that I wouldn't, and then he said he was Bob Allison.
Did he tell you where he lived?
Not exactly. Said someplace out on East Los Angeles. I got the idea that he wasn't too proud of his home. Can't say I blame him.
How about a description, ma'am, what he looked like?
Well, now let me think. Well, I'd say he was young, about 17, maybe 18. Such a young man to be doing something like this.
How tall would you say he was, ma'am?
Tall?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess as tall as you are. Maybe just a teeny bit taller.
That'd make him about 6 feet?
Yes, I guess so.
How about his build, ma'am?
Oh, nice, broad shoulders. You got no idea how I felt when I thought about this boy being a thief. It's terrible.
Yes, ma'am. So would you say he was heavy or slight? About how much would you say he weighed?
No, I'm bad at guessing people's weight. It'd be difficult to say.
Well, ma'am, would you say he was as heavy as I am?
Yes, about your weight.
How about the color of his hair?
Light, nice blonde hair. He had a little wave right here in front, blue eyes. Looked like such a little boy when he cried.
Yes, ma'am. Was there anything unusual about him that you might have noticed? Scars, moles, anything like that?
No, not a thing.
Well, how about the way he talked? Anything unusual there, maybe?
Sorry.
How about his clothes, Mrs. Blair? How was he dressed?
A pair of slacks, a white shirt, and no tie. A button was missing from his shirt. Poor boy probably hasn't got anyone to take care of his clothes. Had on a school sweater. You know, the kind that the seniors get when they're going to graduate? Has the initial of the school on it and no stripes on the sleeve.
Yes, ma'am. What was the initial on the sweater?
There wasn't one. It had been taken off. I could tell that there had been one, though, because a few of the threads were still in the wall.
How about the color of the sweater?
Brown, a dark brown with yellow stripes.
Now, Miss Blair.
Yes?
The glass of milk that the boy drank from the glass, has it been washed yet?
I thought you'd ask about that. No, I stepped aside for you.
You have it now, ma'am?
Yes, it's in the kitchen. My husband said you'd want it. He was hopping mad when he heard about it, just about raised the roof right off the house.
I wonder if we could see that glass.
Of course. It's right out here in the kitchen.
Fine.
There it is on the drain board.
Anybody touched it since the boy?
No, I don't think so. My husband might have, but I don't think he did. He was quite adamant about me not washing it until you came.
Now, Miss Blair, this happened last night. How was it you waited until this morning to report it?
Well, at first I believed the boy. Really thought that it was just circumstances that made him steal. I felt so sorry for him when he broke down and cried. Right here, leave him. Give him every chance. And I let him go. I thought that it would make you do some good. Sort of a new beginning. When I told my husband about it, like I said, he was pretty sore. Talked about the young thief. We never had any children of our own, and I felt so sorry for the boy. I guess my husband couldn't understand. When Bob, that's his name, when Bob said he was sorry, I believed him and let him go. Just let him walk right out of the house. My husband got home, and I told him. He said to call you. I tried to talk to Sam. That's my husband. Make him understand, but he insisted. And then this morning, of course, I agreed with him, and so I called you.
Well, why was that, Mac?
Bob stole my watch.
Stop giving the bank your money. Stop it. If you think you're paying a high interest rate on your home loan, call Coastal Mortgage today, and they'll help you figure out how you can lower your monthly payment. When you buy a car, do you ask the salesperson if you can pay more than the sticker price? So why should you pay more than you have to on your home loan? Let an experienced broker represent you before more than 70 lending institutions, and you'll be assured the best possible rate and program. Imagine what you can do each month with the money you'll save. Just call Coastal Mortgage at 949-833-9144, and they'll walk you through a very simple process. There's no risk, because if they can't lower your interest rate, you're not obligated to take the loan. Call Coastal Mortgage right now at 949-833-9144 and speak to a qualified loan representative. That's 949-833-9144, 949-833-9144.
Finding out you or a loved one has cancer is never easy. It's natural to be afraid when faced with the decision of choosing a cancer treatment. For many cancer patients, fear of the treatment is almost as bad as the cancer itself. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center is the result of 4 decades of leading-edge cancer research and treatment. Opened in 1990, the Proton Treatment Center offers a non-surgical procedure that is superior to traditional radiation therapy in a number of ways. Proton therapy is so precise, there is little or no damage to surrounding tissue. This results in minimal side effects, and most patients experience no disruption in their daily activities. In fact, proton therapy is offered as an outpatient procedure. Call 1-800-PROTONS for a free information packet and videotape explaining the benefits of proton therapy. 1-800-PROTONS. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center. 1-800-PROTONS.
KNX 1070 News Radio.
11:45 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office. We ran the name Bob and Robert Allison through R&I. There was no record on anyone answering his description. We got out a local broadcast and an APB on him. Mrs. Blair went over the mug books but was unable to identify the boy. Frank got in touch with the Board of Education and asked for the name of the school using the colors brown and gold. They told him that it would take a little time to check, but that they'd call us back. We notified the cars from Metro of the new developments and gave them the description of the boy. A check of the phone books for the name netted us nothing. Latent prints were sent out to the home of Enid Blair to get the fingerprints of she and her husband. In checking over the empty glass found in the Blair home, besides the prints of Mr. and Mrs. Blair, Dean Bergman came up with a partial unidentified print. It was not enough for classification, but he told us that if we turned the burglar, he could tell us if we had the right man or not. 4:30 p.m. Frank and I cruised the area the burglar had been working in. We were in constant contact with the other 10 cars in the field.
So you're still working this neighborhood, Joe?
Well, we got no choice till we hear otherwise.
Funny about the Blair woman, isn't it?
What?
You know, turning the kid loose. Sure must have put on a show.
Yeah, sure. What time you got?
4:38. Got another hour and a half.
Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
Up ahead there in the corner?
Yeah, brown sweater could be.
All right, let's go.
He sees us making a break through that yard there.
Come on. All right, hold it up there.
He isn't stopping.
What about that garage?
I'll try and head him off.
All right, watch it.
Joe, you see him?
No, we missed him someplace. Better get back to the car.
Right.
I'll call in here.
All right.
Unit 1K80 to Unit 2R1. Unit 1K80 to Unit 2R1. Come in, please.
2R1 to 1K80.
Suspect WMA, 17 to 19 years old, wearing tan trousers and brown and gold sweater, fleeing on foot. Last seen going east on Chalmers Drive at corner of Spalding Avenue. Please block at Chalmers and Hayworth. Repeat, please block at Chalmers and Hayworth.
Roger, 1K80.
Unit 2R7. Come in, please.
Unit 2R7 to 1K80. Go ahead.
You get the description all right?
Yeah.
Want to cover Barrows Drive and Hayes Street? Repeat, Barrows Drive and Hayes Street. Over.
Roger, 1K80.
Units 2R2, 2R3, 2R4, 2R5, and 2R6 converge on area adjacent to Chalmers and Spalding. Repeat, converge on corner of Chalmers and Spalding. Unit 2R20 will direct operations. 1K80 out. It's locked in. Let's fight it. We knew the suspect was in the blockaded area. With the units from Metro Division blocking the street, there was no escape for him. Frank and I walked down Spaulding Avenue. Down the street, we could see Unit 2R20 getting into position. Sergeant Masters was directing the operation from there. The search went on. 6:40 p.m. We still hadn't found him. At each house, we notified the people to be on the lookout for the suspect. In the event they saw him, they were instructed to call police headquarters. They, in turn, would contact Sergeant Masters and appropriate action could be taken. 7:10 p.m. We just about covered the entire area.
What do you figure, Joe?
Yeah, I could have gotten out. Got to be in here someplace.
2 more blocks to go, not much cover.
Figure that he hasn't been sitting still. He's probably been moving, too.
Yeah. How about that garage back there?
Let me check it.
Big place, Joe. Looks like a workshop.
Yeah.
Wonder who it belongs to.
Well, imagine that house over there, don't you? That's where the wires laid. Wait a minute. Here, look at this. Broken padlock.
This must be where he is.
Not easy. Young fella, come on out.
What do you think?
Oh, there's no other door. Come on. All right, come on, boy. Give it up. We know you're in here.
How about the lights, Joe?
Yeah, I got them.
Bigger inside than it looks. Dozen places he could be hiding in.
Yeah, you want to check over there, back of those legs? I'll take this side.
Right. No sign of him over here. How about you?
No. How about that balcony up there? The wooden paint cans, see up there?
Yeah. Somebody could hide up there.
All right, I'll take a look.
Take it easy, Joe.
Yeah. All right, give it up, fella. You got no place to go.
Watch it, Joe. The paint can.
Let me go, Frank. Yeah, Joe, I got it. Get away. Get away.
All right, watch it, Frank.
I see.
Come here, you.
I didn't mean to cut him. I told you to leave me alone. I told you.
All right, come on, get up, you. How about it, Frank? You all right?
Oh, Joe, just a cut, isn't that?
All right.
Let me go. I didn't mean it. I got scared. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I'll do if my family finds out.
Yeah, sure. You going to tell us about your sister, the one who was sick, and your drunken father?
Huh?
Well, are we going to get the full treatment here, the same one you gave Miss Blair?
She told you, huh?
Yeah, she told us. What's your name, boy?
Akins. Robert Akins. Guess you got me tagged for the jobs, huh?
Yeah, we got you tagged.
Lousy deal. I thought for sure I had her figured. Crummy deal all the way around. Never should have started it. All I got was a lot of cheap jewelry and a little money.
What do you mean, cheap jewelry? Our reports show you got a little better than 80,000.
80,000? That's a laugh. A lot of costume junk, a little money. 80,000. Somebody's been giving you a snow job. When I didn't throw away, I still got cheap costume junk, that's all. All right, Akins, let's go. Yeah. Should have known not to trust that Blair woman. Should have known. I was caught before, a couple of times.
All right.
Yeah, a couple of times. They let me go. Started to cry. Getting that story about my sister. They let me go. It was the crying that really did it, though. As soon as I started to boil, they turned me loose. Good gimmick, huh, crying?
Yeah, sure. Don't try it on the jury. It won't work.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Robert Charles Aiken was filed on and found guilty of 12 counts of second-degree burglary. He was released to the Youth Authority for parolement and possible rehabilitation.
Ladies and gentlemen, lightning starts a few forest fires every year. But careless people cause many, many more. This shameful waste of one of our greatest natural resources weakens America. This weekend, if you picnic or camp out, please be careful with fire. Be very sure your campfire is really out before you leave it. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, June Whitley, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Madero, Pier 23. You know, the only time San Francisco really gets hot is when a tourist calls it Frisco, and then it gets warm enough to give a sleigh dog a southern accent. Down around the waterfront, they don't care so much. And for $1, you can insult anybody but Joe DiMaggio. The piers stretch out like a big yawn from south of the ferry building clear to the China docks. You're pushed over on one side so you won't notice, about the same spot you'll find dust in a bride's parlor. You find Pier 23. From there, it's a short skip to Johnny Madero's boat shop. My place. The sign outside looks honest, but down here the only sign people pay any attention to is rigor mortis. I rent boats and do anything else you can blame on your environment. It works out all right. But pretty soon word gets around you got a reputation. It doesn't pay to argue, because even if you're leveling, you make as much headway as a whistler with a split lip. I found that out last Wednesday afternoon. I was looking out the window watching the tide come in when somebody in back of me coughed. When I turned, Nat Finley was standing there in the office. He didn't say anything for a minute, and you noticed his eyes were as soft as the inside of a woman's arm. They had one of those faraway looks you couldn't follow with a road map. And then I saw the rest of him. He wasn't flabby, but he was on the way. And you got the idea he was an ex-fighter who settled down with a restaurant.
I got the right place, haven't I?
If a woman screams you haven't, what's on your mind?
That's a good question, Madero. That's a good question. That's what I want you to find out.
Look, fella, maybe I don't even want to be friendly. What's on your mind?
I don't know, Madero. I don't know.
All right, you convinced me. Now back out of here and we'll both be in the dark. Huh?
Well, wait a minute, Madero. Listen to me. My name is Nat Finley. My wife and I live up on Nob Hill, and I've been retired for a while, see? And...
I don't, but go ahead.
Well, you got to help me, Madero. I'll pay you $50 a day to help me.
At that price, it won't be help.
I want you to find someone for me, but I don't know who or why yet.
We're back to that again, huh?
Oh, listen to me. Lately, a name's been ringing in my ears. Just a name. Pete Sutro. Pete Sutro. Over and over again.
So you read it somewhere?
I don't know where I picked it up. For the last week, the name Pete Sutro has been on my mind. It's a nightmare. You got to do something about it, Madero.
Change your diet. That might help.
I want you to find Pete Sutro. Find out who he is, where he is, why he's bothering me. If you do, I'll give you a $200 bonus.
Look, Finley, is this a job or a career? There must be a dozen Sutros from here to Jersey City.
Maybe, but the Pete Sutro I want lives right here in this town. He's got to.
There's a law?
Now, listen to me, Madero. Last night, I kept hearing the name Sutro again. Only this time there was an address, too. It was care of General Delivery, San Francisco. So he's got to be somewhere in this town.
Why don't you check the phone book?
I have, and the city directory, too. But so far, I haven't been able to locate him.
Then I will, huh?
Well, if you don't, you're still getting $50 a day. What are you worried about?
That $50 a day? It might turn out to be a dream, too. You better throw in some advance money.
Well, sure, Madero. I brought a check along, just in case. Will $100 cover your doubts?
Yeah, if the bank can cover your check.
If they can't, you don't have to do the job. That's fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Will you start looking right away?
Yeah.
But you got to be careful, Madero. My wife's never to know about this, understand?
Why?
Because, well, she doesn't like the idea. She thinks I'm a little crazy looking for a name like this. She hates me, I think. She thinks I'm crazy.
Don't worry about her, Finley, until she starts mixing your nightcaps. For $50 a day, I'll chase anybody's dream. Because with that kind of dough, you're rich enough to run down a couple of your own. When Finley left, I called the bank and found out his check had solid backing. So I went down to Lofty's and I put out some feelers on Pete Sutro. It didn't take long before one of the boys came up with a lead. A couple of other people were looking for Sutro, too. One was a guy named Marty Kane. The other was a torch singer named Evelyn Day. The word was that Sutro and Evelyn used to trade mash notes in Detroit. Well, I phoned the Jade Club where Evelyn was working, but she wasn't due for an hour, so I decided to give Marty Kane the first try. He was living in a motel out in the marina, so I went out. There was a sign outside that said modern cabins, but you knew Abe Lincoln did better in Illinois. The cabins were the size of an upper berth with enough holes to start a punch board. That didn't leave much privacy. You had more chance of keeping a secret from Matt or Harry. I asked the manager where Kane's place was, and he pointed to the end cabin. I went over and knocked on the door. Kane opened it and glared. His eyes were the color of Saturday night on a week-old Jag, and he was so chunky you figured he'd be harder to move than an icebox through a basement window.
Who are you?
My name's Madero, Johnny Madero.
Don't rhyme with anything. What are you looking for?
A guy named Pete Sutro. I hear you got the same idea.
So you got ears. I'll invite you in.
I can't turn you down.
Yeah, that's what everybody says about this gun. Now sit down. You get me nervous.
Put away the gun and we'll both be calm, huh?
After you tell me what you know about Sutro.
I'm tracking down a Dragnet.
Yours?
A client's. You sound anxious. What's your pitch?
A wild one. Just say he owes me some dough and I need it bad now.
You got the muscles. Take in laundry.
I'll put you through the ringer first. I want to lead on Sutro.
Yeah, we both do, but I'm not going down on my knees.
Get up, Madero. I don't want to make a liar out of you again.
You're tough, Kane. I'll bet you got your dandruff scared stiff.
Yeah, and I'll start on yours now. What's Sutro to you?
$50 a day. A guy named Nat Finley hired me to track him down. Does that make you happy?
No, just ambitious. Who's Nat Finley?
He came in and paid me to find Sutro. He said the name was giving him nightmares.
Sounds like a bedtime story, Madero.
Well, if you don't like it, jazz it up. It's the truth.
I read the wrong papers. Give me another version.
All right, if you don't believe me, Kane, make up your own. Here's Finley's check. Can you read?
If you'll help me with the big words. Give it here. Nat Finley. Yeah, Nat Finley. You weren't lying. Looks like a good check. I'll take a chance. I'll cash it for you.
It's giving you IDs, huh?
Yeah, and the first one's about you. Now, here's your dough, Madero. Now, get out. Get out quick.
Oh, you're too good to me, Kane. Suppose the check bounces.
It won't, Madero, because I ain't going to cash it.
Oh, I couldn't figure it. Kane looked at the check and smiled like a guy who just learned all about the atom bomb. I walked out, and the only thing I knew for sure was the demand for Pete Sutro was big enough to start a business boom. I headed back to my apartment to see how much lip I could bring down with an ice bag and a little pressure. When I got there, the door was open and the light was on. Inside, things looked even brighter. The brunette was draped over the couch like she paid the first installment on it. She was about 25, with a pair of legs that would have made a silkworm turn over and write a fan letter. She wore a tan business suit, and the way it was rumpled up, you knew office hours were over. When she saw me, she began to vibrate like an alarm clock at 6 in the morning.
Good evening.
I won't argue, but you got the wrong room.
Will I regret it?
I don't know you that well.
Oh, you'll catch up with the crowd. My name is Sheila. I'm Nat Finley's wife.
You should be somebody's wife. It cuts down on the risk.
I want to talk to you.
Go ahead. I'll try not to stare.
Let's have a drink first, Mr. Madero. Maybe it will cloud your vision.
Yeah, and the issue, too, huh?
You serve strong stuff, Mr. Madero. Soda?
I'm all charged up now, lady. What's on your mind?
I have a problem. Maybe you can help me.
Maybe it's too late. I'm listening.
It's about my husband, Nat. He tries, but he can't hide much from me.
Now that you have the same trouble. Look, lady, you're working too hard for a sale. If you got a point, make it.
All right, Mr. Madero, we'll skip the intermission. My husband saw you tonight and sold you a wild story.
Yeah, but it paid off. So far, I'm not complaining.
But I am. I want you to drop the whole silly job Nat gave you.
You're not building a case. $50 a day buys a lot of hangover, lady.
You don't understand, Mr. Madero. My husband is a sick man.
Yeah, I know. He can't sleep at night.
He has a large imagination, and it's been getting worse lately. He, dreams up things. Sometimes I think he's a little crazy.
Maybe it's a hobby. He can afford it.
There are some things even he can't afford.
Yeah, like finding Pete Sutro.
That's right, Mr. Madero. There is no such man.
A guy named Marty Kane will give you odds.
Who did you say?
Marty Kane. He cashed in your husband's check, you know?
No, I never heard of him.
You don't sound so sure. Marty was talking about Sutro.
All right, Mr. Madero, I'm talking about something else now, money.
So far, you're whispering.
Shouting, Mr. Madero, $500 worth. I'll give you $500 to drop the job and forget everything.
All right, baby, you twisted my arm.
You won't let me down, Mr. Madero. Will you?
If I do, it'll be nice and easy. Finley had the kind of a wife you mate with a panther. She picked up her purse and peeled off 500 fish. She wasn't talking anymore, and when she swayed out, you wondered how much night practice she'd given that rumba. Well, I was all washed up with the Finleys, and felt good already. So did the dough. I felt like a guy whose name was just picked in a chain letter. My mind was free for the better things in life. So I called up a girl out on Van Ness and told her to meet me at the Regent Bowling Alley. I got there before she did, so I started warming up the alley. A few minutes later, it got a lot warmer because Inspector Warcheck of San Francisco Homicide began spoiling my game.
Hello, Madero. It was a nice strike.
You're in the wrong kind of alley, Warcheck. What do you want?
Some pointers? You got time?
No.
I can see how you hold a bowling ball. Now show me how you hold a gun, huh?
All right, Warcheck. What's on your mind?
I was on Marty Kane's.
A guy named Pete Sutro. He owed Kane some money.
And you paid off?
I paid him a visit. We had something in common.
And you must have bored him to death. Kane couldn't quite stand a couple of slugs in his forehead, so he quit.
Well, what do you want me to do, Warcheck? Break the news to his wife?
No. Just tell me about the argument you had.
It was a monologue. Kane wanted to know where Sutro was hiding. I only knew one answer, so he did all the talking.
Oh, you should have said please. It's not polite to interrupt a guy with a gun.
Look, Warcheck, what makes me the blue plate special?
The motel manager, he said you go into Kane's room, and then he heard a struggle, and then later on he heard a shot.
Did he hear who won the fourth? Listen, copper, a guy named Nat Finley hired me to find out who Pete Sutro was. The name was playing tag in his brain all week, and he wanted to know why.
Yeah, does that sound like a story?
Check with Finley. He's the guy who made it up.
What if he let you down?
And work on his wife. She's not bad looking, and she paid me to drop Finley's account.
I'll check both your alibis, Madero. In the meantime, I want to line you up.
While you're making the rounds, look up a gal named Evelyn Day. She knew Sutro, too.
Go ahead. Run the police force. Tell me what to ask her.
Forget it, Warcheck. You're not the type. Warcheck stood there for a second, wiping his teeth with his tongue. If he'd done it on the outside, it would have been a contract job. And then one of the bowlers in a tight pair of slacks brushed up against him and went out. He looked at me once more and headed after her. Well, I didn't feel much like bowling either, so I left a note at the desk for the girlfriend and started out. I knew I was in trouble. Some days it's harder to duck trouble than a handful of pebbles. No, I told myself I didn't kill Kane, but that was like trying to fight a fire with an anti-smoke law. The big question was Pete Sutro. Who was he? There were other questions, like why did the Finley dame buy me off? And why did her husband want Sutro in the first place? Well, there were no answers, and I felt about as safe as an alligator walking through a handbag factory, so I looked up the only good guy I know, a waterfront priest named Father Leahy. I found him in his room flipping through a couple of raffle books.
Hello, Johnny. You're just in time to buy a ticket. The boys' club is raffling off an electric toaster.
I'm already a little burned, Father.
I'm in a spot, Johnny. The boys gave me a quota to fill. I got stuck at a banker's luncheon all afternoon. You know what they're like on risk.
Yeah.
I've got to sell some tickets.
All right, I'll buy a couple, but I need your help. I'm in trouble.
You'd better buy 5. At a time like this, both of us can afford to be generous. What kind of trouble?
This won't take long, Father.
You always say that, but it adds up. You don't realize it, but I lose whole weekends that way.
Will you please listen, Father? Warcheck wants to pin me down on a murder.
He's got the weight. Who's dead?
A guy named Marty Kane. I saw him a couple of hours ago, and he was still alive when I left.
Can you prove it?
Well, that's going to be tough. The clerk at the motel saw me go into Kane's room just before he got tumbled.
So far, you don't have a way out. Why not plead insanity?
I would, but I'm afraid of the competition.
What do you mean?
A muddled-up guy named Nat Finley hired me to chase down the name Pete Sutro. He claimed the name was haunting him.
I know how he feels. Johnny, I don't think the bishop likes me either.
My only lead was Marty Kane. He seemed to want Sutro worse than I did.
Sutro is certainly popular for a dream. Do you think he'll ever materialize?
I don't know, but I don't think Marty Kane was killed over a dream.
If he was, it must have been quite a nightmare. Did you look up your client again?
I didn't have the time. His wife paid me to drop the whole job. She said Finley was a harmless duck with a pail full of wild ideas.
Does the husband feel the same way about his wife?
Do you want gossip, Father, or do you want to help me?
That's an unfair question, Johnny. Either way, I'm embarrassed.
Please, Father. Will you check up on a few people for me?
Yes.
Look up Kane's friends, and if you run out of those, try his enemies. Find out who might have had an urge to kill him, will you?
It's a tall order, Johnny. There may be a lot of people involved.
I can use them all, Father.
I know. But can they all use an electric toaster?
When I left Father Leahy, I knew I still had one base to tag. It was Sutro's ex-flame, a doll named Evelyn Day. I drove down to Eddy Street and I parked near the Jade Club. Well, it's not a bad place, but on a slow night, even the winos are afraid to go in. Inside, it was dark enough to hide the decimal point on a check, and over by the bar, there was a piano playing music that nobody was listening to. And then Evelyn came out. And right off, he started hunting for the nearest fire exit. She had red hair about this side of 98 degrees, and she wore a black evening gown that held up by one strap and a prayer. She was the kind of a girl who could wear a Mother Hubbard and make it look like a negligee. And when she sang, it came out low enough to strike oil. After she was through, I asked the bartender to give her a message. She walked over to me, and she wasn't happy one way or the other.
Are you the man who wanted me?
One of them. You're Evelyn, huh?
Yeah. What'll it lead to?
A crisis if you don't sit down.
All right. You've got me interested. Now, what's on your mind? That we can talk about?
My name's Madero. Now, let's start with a friend named Pete Sutro.
Let's continue. What do you want to know about him?
Where is he?
Are you a cop, or will you pay for the right answer?
I need too many of them, baby. I'm way out ahead in a murder derby, and I'll pitch homicide anybody I can get.
What do you want Sutro for?
I think he shot Marty King.
Someone should have. But you're betting on the wrong horse.
You're prejudiced. Sutro was your boyfriend.
That's right. He was my boyfriend. But I haven't seen him lately.
All right, then. What was the last thing you did with him?
I'll read my diary to you someday.
Now, look, baby, you got a choice. I'm going to rough you up or let the pros do it.
Let go of my arm, Madero. Or I'll call a bouncer.
Call Sutro. Now, start talking before I bruise you up good.
Slow down, Madero. You're out of my weight class.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you want to know.
Should I take notes, or is this going to be quick?
I don't know. Depends on how sentimental I get.
That's all right. I got a handkerchief.
Okay, I'll tell you. I used to be Pete Sutro's girl in Detroit. Then one day he skipped out and left me hanging on the vine.
Don't worry, baby. You haven't withered yet.
I started looking for him, and so did Kane.
Why Kane?
He and Pete had a deal together. Pete ran out with all the dough.
Your boy should have run for Congress. He's got a nice record. What kind of a deal did he have with Kane?
I don't remember.
All of a sudden, huh?
I'm shy when it comes to strangers. Let's just end it by saying Pete disappeared.
Let's say you're dummying up.
I love Pete, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to him.
Do you carry a picture with that torch, baby?
Sure. Want to see? Here's a snapshot of Pete in my locket. Do you know him?
Not this season, no.
I want him back. He was a good guy.
Yeah, your boy worked up a lot of people. He made #1 nightmare for a guy named Nat Finley.
I heard. And I want to see Finley, too.
You saw me, miss. But I want to talk to Madero.
Hello, Finley.
I got to see you alone, Madero. And I got to see you now.
You lost your option. I'm freelancing again.
Well, you can't walk out on me.
This is going to hurt, fella. Your wife paid me to drop the job.
That's what I got to talk to you about, Madero. I think she wants to drop me, too.
Finley grabbed me by the arm, and you could tell he was scared. His jaw was shut tighter than a wall safe, and his Adam's apple rode up and down like a yo-yo. Evelyn wanted to compare notes with him on Sutro, but right now Finley was as friendly as a no-limit poker game. He hustled me out of the Jade and into a waiting cab. He wouldn't say anything because of the driver, so he sat in one corner, rubbing his hands and looking straight ahead. When we got to the office, Finley paid the bill, and we went up the ramp. Inside, he had a little trouble getting started, like a big family leaving on a picnic. And then he got his voice.
I'm in a bad spot, Madero. I need help.
Have you tried classified?
I'm trying you. I tell you, my wife's out to get me. She keeps telling me I'm crazy. She's trying to talk me into it.
A lot of wives feel that way, Finley. She'll get over it.
Yeah? Well, I, Madero. She's trying to send me to an asylum. She and Sutro.
You got enough worries to start a peace conference. What brings Sutro back into the headlines?
I found a letter in Sheila's purse. Kane wanted $10,000 from Sheila to keep quiet about Sutro.
All right, quit crowding me with ghosts. So your wife had a past.
And she and Sutro have a future unless you help them. Help me, I tell you. Sutro's behind the whole thing. He and my wife must know each other, and they're trying to get rid of me.
You're getting a complex, Finley. Slow down.
Well, you got to help me.
Well, who's going to help me? I got a murder rap to beat.
Oh, but I'll clear you, Madero. I'll clear you if you help me now.
You couldn't clear your own throat in an empty tunnel. What makes you 8 feet tall?
This gun in my hand.
Well, stop pointing it, fella. You're too nervous to aim.
Well, you don't understand, Madero. I'm not pointing it at you. I'm giving it to you. This is the gun that killed Kane.
You were there when it happened?
No, but either my wife or Sutro was.
When did you dream that up?
An hour ago. I found it in my wife's closet. 2 slugs are missing, and I got a feeling it killed Kane.
Send it to homicide. They'll let you know who did it by return mail.
I can't, Madero. I can't just yet. I don't know whether Sheila or Sutro did it. I got a feeling inside. You've got to find Sutro, or he'll end up killing me yet.
That's a prediction?
Wait a minute. Someone's coming down the hall. Hide the gun, Madero. They're after me now.
Yeah.
They got the light fuse.
Lay low. They're aiming for something bigger.
What are you going to do, Madero?
Just waiting for something to happen.
Ooh! Madero. I guess it happened. Somebody turned a flashlight in my eyes and then hit a 4-bagger.
they hung around, they could have seen me do a couple of quick quivers a chorus girl would have been proud of. I laid there in the dark for a while. If you're going to look messy, a blackout isn't a bad place to do it. After a while, I tried to get up, but my stomach felt as empty as a horse laugh at a funeral. I sprawled out again, and I tried to figure how a name like Pete Sutro could start so much pain. Then the lights went on. They should have stayed off because Warchek was breathing over me like a steam engine with a broken heart.
Hello, Madero. Does the light bother your eyes?
Yeah, Warchek. Get out of it.
And get used to it. It's a lot stronger down at headquarters. Tell me about the gun on the floor.
I heard you were coming. I wanted to commit suicide.
You didn't try hard enough. Just got a phone tip that said you had the gun that killed Marty Kane. Hand it to me.
All right, Copper, I'll make it easy for you. Finley left the gun here before somebody sapped me.
Uh-huh. Who's somebody? Don't any of your friends have names?
Sure. Check with Finley. He was here when it happened.
It was dark, Madero. How did he see? With an electric eye?
I don't know. Maybe he smelled his wife's perfume. Look her up, too.
She's that interesting, huh?
Kane used to think so.
What do you mean?
It was blackmailing her.
Look, Madero, a grocery list is blackmail to you. What put you on the inside?
Finley found a letter in her purse. Kane wanted $10,000 to keep quiet about Sutro.
Finley told you all about it, huh?
He can't keep a family secret.
And the wife tumbled Kane to keep him quiet. Is that the idea?
Well, this is your good day, Warchek. Find Sutro now, and you've licked the whole thing.
No, you find him, Madero, and we'll give you a reward.
You're too generous. What's the pitch?
Sutro's wanted for a payroll robbery in Detroit. He's been out of sight for a year now.
He hasn't been out of mind, though. Finley thinks his wife is carrying on a sideline with him.
Look, Madero, I talked to your boy, Finley. He's got enough dreams to start a mattress factory. I don't believe him. I don't believe you.
You don't believe the world is round. Take stock, Warchek, and start learning.
Yeah, I will. Let's see how much the fingerprints on this gun teach me. You've got a story? I'll stay after school.
You'll still wear the dunce cap.
That's all right, Madero. There'll be a badge on it.
Warchek wrapped the gun up in a handkerchief, and if it killed Marty Kane, I might as well start writing letters to the governor. The gun was a plant, but I had about as much chance of selling after Warchek as a pair of short pants to a reform school. Warchek stood there and smiled, and then he walked out. There were a lot of questions again, like who sapped him, and did Finley really have a story? The more I thought about it, the more snarled it got. And then the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Johnny. This is Father Leahy. Are you still free?
Yeah, but I'm breathing hard. How'd you make out?
Fine, Johnny. I sold 10 raffle tickets.
What'd you find out?
Warchek just got a teletype. Sutro pulled a payroll robbery in Detroit. They think Marty Kane helped him.
Well, that figures. What else?
Sutro and the dough are supposed to be somewhere in town.
Yeah, even the bloodhounds are worried. How does Sheila figure?
She and a girl named Evelyn were both in love with Sutro. But rumor has it that Sutro's favorite was Evelyn.
What about Finley?
Sheila must have got tired of sharecropping, so she settled for Finley. They both came in from Detroit about a year ago.
But, Father, it's still fuzzy. Marty Kane was blackmailing Sheila because of Sutro. There must be a tie.
Evelyn's asking the same question, and she thinks Sheila knows the answers. She's on her way to the Finley place for a showdown.
Thanks, Father. I'll tag along and grab a seat on the sidelines.
It'll be a free-for-all if those two girls tangle.
Don't worry, Father. They won't get in my hair.
Don't be too sure. Samson had trouble with one girl.
When Father Leahy hung up, all the pieces began to fall into place. All but one. Where was Sutro? He was around somewhere, but it was like throwing a headlock on a shadow. I grabbed a cab out to the Stafford Arms, and when I got there, the doorman looked at me as if I'd just blown up an orphan. I took the elevator and got off on the 6th floor. Then I leaned on the doorbell, and Sheila answered. She was wearing a pair of rose-colored lounging pajamas, and I've seen baked potatoes with lucid jackets. She must have been surprised, but she didn't blink an eyelash.
Are you pausing or opposing, Mr. Madero?
I'm looking for trapdoors.
Oh, well, if you're going to look that way, come inside.
Yeah.
Now bring that gleam in your eye over to the fireplace. They'll warm it up a little.
It won't look good in company.
Why? Who's company?
Evelyn's a little late. She got tied up sharpening her claws.
Evelyn who?
Hold out, baby. She's got a better question than that.
Like what?
Like, where's Pete Sutro? The key sounds like a friend.
That's too early. That's probably my husband, Matt.
Oh, hello, Madero. I'm glad you're here. Somebody's been following me.
Oh, you're dreaming again, darling.
You see? What did I tell you? It wasn't a dream. That must be her.
Hello, Sheila. Remember me?
You must have the wrong place, lady.
That's the right idea. I want Pete Sutro back.
You want too much.
I'll grab anyway. I've come for Pete, Sheila.
You came too late. He's dead. Pete Sutro died 2 years ago in Detroit. You hear me? He's dead.
Not dead enough. You're lying, Sheila. Pete Sutro is standing right behind you.
What do you mean? That's my husband. That's Nat.
So you gave him another name and another face. But you can't give him another voice. That's Pete Sutro.
What are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm not Pete Sutro.
Don't you remember me, Pete? I'm Evelyn. Oh, what did they do to your face, darling?
My face? I was in an accident. It's hard to remember things.
Remember the payroll robbery, Pete? You were supposed to come back to me.
Payroll robbery? It was an accident. And I was hurt. I can't remember anything else. It's so hard to think. Well, you were there, Sheila. What happened?
Go ahead, Sheila. Tell him what happened. Tell him that he's Pete Sutro. Tell him that you stole him from me. Tell him that you killed Marty Kane.
All right, Evelyn. I'll tell it to you first. It was a good campaign, but I'm voting you down.
Put away
now.
the gun. He won't stand for it.
He's henpecked now.
What are you doing, Sheila? You'll hurt him.
I'll try.
You shot her. You shot... Evelyn.
Please. You remember me. She broke us up for good. But you remember me.
Yeah. I remembered. Evelyn. I'm beginning to remember a lot of things now.
Then forget him, Ned. Just you and me now. We're married.
You married a guy named Nat Finley.
Stay away from me, Nat.
Try Pete. See how it sounds. Give me the gun, baby.
Let go.
You killed Evelyn.
Let go. You didn't need her.
Not anymore. I got the gun now.
No, please, Nat. Please.
Tell me it's a dream, baby. Tell me I'm crazy.
You are, Nat. You are. Get out of my way. I'm getting out of here.
You're not quick enough.
The gun's empty now.
Yeah. So's everything. I'm tired, Madero. Tired.
Hold out. It's going to be a long trip.
Yeah. I told you, Madero. Pete Sutro was going to kill me in the end.
Yeah. You talked yourself into it. Warcheck got the whole story the next morning. Seems that Sutro and Kane were in a big robbery in Detroit. The plan was for Sutro to carry all the dough and meet Kane and Evelyn at their hideout. But Sutro got smashed up in an auto accident and never made it. Sutro's face had to be remodeled, and when he lost his memory, Sheila made her pitch. She promoted a wedding and cut herself in on half the stolen cash. Changed his name to Nat Finley and brought him out to San Francisco. Kane and Evelyn got wind that Sutro had taken off to the coast, so they followed. They couldn't find him, and for a year, Sheila and Sutro got along without a hitch. And then Sutro began hearing his real name in his own mind, and before Sheila could do anything, I'd already shown her husband's check to Kane. He recognized Sutro's handwriting right away, and so he started to blackmail Sheila. He didn't make any yardage because Sheila stopped him with a .38. And then she tried to convince her husband that he was crazy. Evelyn won in the last round when she recognized Sutro's voice at the Jade. Turned out that Sutro had been chasing himself until he caught himself. Well, Warcheck asked only one question. How can a guy forget his own name? I don't know. A lot of hotels would like to know that, too.
Johnny Madero, Pier 23, starring Jack Webb as Johnny Madero, has been presented by the Mutual Network. Johnny Madero is written by Herb Margolis and Lou Morheim. Gail Gordon played Father Leahy. Bill Conrad played Inspector Warcheck of Homicide. John Garfield played Nat Finley. Others in the cast were Gene Rogers, Joan Banks. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman, and the entire production was directed by Nat Wolfe. Tony LaFrano.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.